And Chairman, yourself. Bless you.
Commission for November 6, 2025, to order. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Certainly. Robert Giorgio,
Present.
Petrie Paul is here. Jenna Nat, I think
Absent.
is absent. Tim Spugales,
Present.
Sam Wallach,
Present.
Felicia Ford, Laura Ragsdale.
Present.
Let it also be known that City Council member Brian Lewis is in attendance, as well as our staff liaisons, Carlos Trejo, Olivet's Director of Planning Community Development Department, Dawn Doty, Senior Planner, and I hear Jack's taking the night off, right?
That is correct, sir.
It's his birthday today, so
Birthday.
we'll let him. Happy birthday to Jack. Tomorrow? Oh, so he had no excuse. Okay. All right, good. Well, thanks everybody for being in attendance. We appreciate it. Sometimes we have nobody. Sometimes we have a full house. So this is a good balance. So we appreciate that. Just so everybody knows who hasn't been here before, we follow the agenda, item by item. We do have a time for public comments at the beginning. These are reserved for issues that are not on the agenda. If there's a public comment that's related to the agenda, there'll be time within that agenda item. And how we go through with the petitions, staff will go over their report, kind of discuss the findings, discuss any issues they have. Then there'll be some time for question and answer between the commission members and staff. And then we typically bring on the petitioner to kind of help answer those questions, provide additional guidance or additional background to it. And then after that, then we take on public comments for those particular items. Okay. Anybody have any questions? All right. Seeing none, that's good. That's good. We do have some special instructions for people that are online. You have to raise your hand to let us know if you have a question. It takes a little bit of time to bring you on the panel. We do ask you to make sure that you unmute and turn on your video so that we can have that going on during the session. It usually takes time, so if you guys could be looking out for that to make sure that's done, that would be great. Otherwise, it kind of puts the meeting on hold until we get that done. All right. Carlos, did I miss anything?
No, sir.
All right, very
Think we're
good. So are there any public comments or announcements, tonight in the audience? I see nobody. Oh, I see one. Yeah, come on up. Is it related to an agenda item?
No.
Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we need. And we do ask you to state your name and address for the record. And I forgot to mention, we do limit public comments to be no more than 3 minutes. Be respectful of everybody's time and to make sure everybody's opinions get heard.
Absolutely.
Great.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Larry.
Please turn on your microphone as well.
Sorry about that. Knew I missed something.
Now we're going. My name is Larry Norber. I live at 2 Stacy Drive. And really, everybody, I need some guidance tonight on an issue that we're facing in our neighborhood with a particular builder. Currently, there are 2 new homes that are being built on Stacy. One in particular is at 12 Stacy. As you know, with 2 homes being built within about 6 doors of each other, there is considerable construction traffic on Stacy. And we also have traffic barriers on Stacy because there is considerable foot traffic on Stacy and bicycle traffic on Stacy and little kids traffic on Stacy. So we try and slow the traffic down to make sure that we stay safe. One of the developers, the Manlin Company, is building a new home at Stacy. And they have a penchant for moving our traffic barriers. And they need to. They got to get their equipment in and their workers in. But their penchant is not to replace those barriers at the end of the day. And since about April, I can go back to April in my emails, I have begged Mr. Manlin to have his workers straighten those barriers back out at the end of the day. And the response I get from Mr. Manlin is, oh, I'll tell my superintendent, or are you sure it's us? Now, I am sure it's them because I get comments from the neighbors and I have video. So I know it's Manlin's workers that are moving these barriers and not replacing them. And this impacts the safety of our neighborhood. And it's my contention that putting these barriers back as they are part of what's impacting our neighborhood as a result of the construction needs to be monitored, needs to be in some way compelled or convinced to Mr. Manlin that he's got to put these back. And I get short shrift every time I speak with him. Oh, yeah. Sure, buddy. Howdy doody. See you later. Goodbye. Well, that doesn't do the safety of our neighborhood any good. And by the time somebody gets run over, it's too late. That's why we have our barriers. That's why they need to be replaced. And Manlin is not pulling his weight as a good neighbor or as an owner. And I need some guidance on how to get him moving in the right direction. Now, over the last couple of nights, guess what? After me threatening to come before Pcdc, we haven't had any issues with the barriers. But it took an act of Congress to get it done. And I don't trust him. I don't believe that he is going to continue on. And like I said, I've got video and he poo-poos it and I'm done with it. So I need your help. I appreciate you hearing me out tonight. And I let him know in no uncertain terms that he was going to be on the radar, at least through this discussion of what has to be done, what might be done. But you guys need to know that he's not a good neighbor. He's not a builder with conscience. And we've asked him to put the barriers up. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks for your comments.
You bet.
Carlos, can you reach out to Mr. Manlin and
Yes.
just
And they had included me within the past couple of days on those. So
good. Just to get some and kind of let your inspectors know maybe too if they're going over in that area.
yes, but not to prolong the discussion, but we'll make them aware. And,
Yeah,
and
That's all we
okay.
All right. I would advise to contact the actual owner of that lot because I believe it's that house has already been sold. Is that correct? So you might want to do that, as well. I'm not sure if you have his contact information, but maybe Carlos can provide that.
Okay, I'll let Mr. Manning know that I'll speak with the owner.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none in the audience, Carlos, you please check online.
All right. So far, everybody that is online is in regards to one of the agenda items.
Okay, good. Okay, so we'll move on to old business. Item A, 8950 Olive Crossing. Carlos?
Yes, sir. All right. So first, I'm going to give a quick overview, and then we do have the petitioner and their representatives here, and then also the architect is online in there. So this was presented at our last meeting on October 16th. It's a 4-story, 128-room courtyard hotel. It's part of the Olive Crossing development, which is a 14-acre, 6-lot mixed-use development. Its use, its location, and the overall building mass has been approved by the council. That was approved through the developers agreement when the development initiated, I believe, around 2018, and then through subsequent amendments through 2021, and then recently there's been some alterations in there. But the use of allowing a hotel at Lot 6 was authorized by the council through the developers agreement. The council also allotted a specific height for the hotel and a extended setback along the what's that, southwest property line in there. So in this process, what the commission is doing is what we call design review, meaning the conceptual plan has been approved. And here you're actually kind of now really working as an architectural review board and site plan review process. And that's what's before you now. We discussed it a little bit at the last meeting. The location is even further back from where the old Office Max used to be. It's at the far southern tip of the development, and it abuts I-170 on one side, the Stony Tower subdivision on the west, and then to the north is the remaining part of the development. And then what you see here are the more recent elevations, revised elevations, which included some additional fiber cement panel on that first level. At our last meeting, we talked about the hotel and how it was part of the master development plan, and kind of outlined the location and its review through the fire department to get proper access, and why the hotel footprint is kind of oriented at that location. The commission talked about the use of materials quite a bit at the last meeting. You can see here the updated elevations on your left with the initial elevations on your right. We were concerned about the amount of EFIS. We had quite a bit of discussion on materials, and one part of the discussion included that at least at the first level be something other than the use of EFIS, and that's what's been submitted before you here. We talked about a landscape plan. There was some comments from neighboring properties regarding landscaping. They are required by code to install landscaping. This is an updated landscaping plan that the developer provided that has been put together. And the way our landscape plan works is that per linear frontage or by linear foot along a property, they had to hit a specific point system. So, all you see here, the number of points that are provided within this landscape plan comply with the city minimums. And within your packet, you can see the details of the type of plantings and then the scheduled plantings here on the right-hand side. A little hard to read on the monitor, but you do have copies of those in there. And then I urge everyone to know that you can access those plans along with the public through the city's website. And that is simply when you're on the agenda. And of course, those that let me stop the share here to make sure that the public can see that. When you're on the city's agenda, if you click the hyperlink that's been provided, it takes you straight to a dedicated web page regarding the Olive Crossing development. In that dedicated page, you have the update of the development as a whole. And then now here you have the updated plans and everything before you for the Courtyard by Marriott, which is lot 6. You have applicable references, including the developers agreement adopting ordinances that go back to as far back to 2018. And then you have the history information of the previous developments that have been on that site. So there's a lot of access, a lot of data in there for the commission. If you want to see the plans at a closer detail, I urge you to kind of utilize the website to access those, and then you can zoom in, zoom out through the process. Some of these plans are pretty large in size, but you'll get a lot more information than what you'll see in the slides, okay? Or in your 11 by 17 sheets of paper. So please take advantage of that. That's where we're putting all the plan sets, information. Eventually the reports will go on there too. All right, so I'm going to stop the share again, and I'm going to go back to the PDF of the presentation. Bear with me one second for those that are online. So there is your revised landscape plan that was discussed at that last meeting. We also talked about the elevations of the property. And there was concerns for the neighboring properties to the west in Stony Towers, whether the hotel was going to be mounted. And we tried to focus that there is already an existing storm sewer system that's been installed. And at this point is the top of the inlet that you see here. And you can see that the top of the wall, the base of the wall is actually about 1.5 feet higher than the flooring, the first floor of the hotel. And then you can see the inlet here that's already been installed. So all that water has to be directed in there, so they're not mounting any higher. There was still some questions about that. And you can see here, here's the buffer screen wall, the base of the wall at 591.5, and then you can see Jack Carswell kind of standing there on top of that inlet. And so all this mound that you see here is eventually going to be removed from the property grounds in there. So we requested the developer to provide us a couple of revised cross sections. Those have been provided. They're in your packets, and they were accessible online, so you can see they did 6 total cross sections. They labeled them as A, B, C, D, E, and F, and each cross section is noted here. The one I'm going to focus on primarily will be 2. One is, oops, excuse me here. The adjacent residential properties in the Stoney Towers, the 8-foot wall, the council also authorized that they, instead of having a 6-foot wall, that a minimum 8-foot wall be placed in there. In addition to that, they expanded the required buffer. Typically, it would only be 10 feet. Their buffer is about 30 feet in there. Then you'll have the grading of the parking lot, the protrusions of like the outdoor pool, and then the building height of the hotel. It is a 4-story hotel. They were authorized to go up to 5 stories. In this case, that's been modified to just 4 in there. But that kind of gives you an idea of that cross section here between the residential properties and the hotel, and that's taken right here. You can see the pool, the outdoor patio, the property line and the buffer wall, and then it just goes up to here. The house is further back down that way. The other one I'm going to show you is along the freeway, just so you can get an idea of the elevation of the freeway and the hotel. That's cross section DD. And that be here. This is the surface area of I-170. This is the surface area in front of the hotel, and then this is a protrusion of the hotel there at the Portichet. Yep. It's a lot of data, and I know that it's being introduced to the commission, but urge you to kind of take a look at those. If there's any questions, feel free to call us or ask, or if there's any inquiries about making the data better, let me know. We asked the developer for an updated
Carlos?
pedestrian plan.
Can I ask you a quick question about that
Absolutely.
section? There was some discussion last time about some sort of potential need for a guardrail because there was going to be a dip, I believe, between 170 and the hotel property.
Yes, and I'll allow the developer to kind of explain that one because bear with me here 1 second. Which cross section that would be? Okay. Okay. Here's the surface area of I-170, and each of these increments is 1 foot, correct?
Yeah, so
and
it doesn't
there-
look like
so-
there's an issue.
It's vertical. So yeah, if you're looking between, this is 580 and that's 590, each one of these, so you're looking at a drop of about 2 to 3 feet.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's the surface area of the drive, and then the grading as you get to the base of the hotel. I'm going to go back here because you're kind of at the far back end of the hotel here.
Mhm.
So we'll take a look at DD and this piece right here. And that's the one that we took a look at just about earlier. And they're pretty much flushed.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll take a look at AA, which is at the furthest north, just in case. And then you can see the surface area of the interstate drops about 1 foot and then comes back in. Any other questions on those?
No.
We asked the developer for an updated pedestrians plan. We're still reviewing this, and we need to have a continued discussion with the developer. Condition of the developers agreement and the PDD was to make sure that this was a pedestrian oriented type of development in there. And I think there's a couple of links that we'd like to see improved on those, and we haven't had a chance to sit down with the developer, but they are making the attempt to show how those links are interconnected within the site. Okay. And those are the updates I have. We also got today some additional information in there. Now, bear with me. Yes, this should be visible to those that are online. So we received the lighting plan, which the developer will allow the developer to kind of talk about that in there. So he'll have the photometrics and talk about the fixtures. And again, those are governed by code. They are all required to be boxed down light and avoid the spillage upward and then controlled along the sides. They'll talk about that and how that is laid out. One of the newest things that more communities are talking about, but we've been working with the developer, was to limit that blue hue and trying to get that hue level a little bit down. And we'll continue to work with them on that. And in addition to that, there's some information regarding materials that the petitioner and their team, including the architect, will talk about. Be glad to answer any specific questions. Oh, there was one more here. I had a note on the landscape plan. And I believe that it has been addressed by the developer, but if they can talk a little bit about the outdoor area, because there was some comments about noise generation in there and how that was being mitigated. Okay.
While you were talking, you said it was an outdoor pool, but it's an.
Oh,
indoor
no,
pool.
indoor pool.
Yeah.
There's an outdoor
Patio.
There you
Okay,
go.
that's what I thought. I just.
Sorry
wanted to
about
make
that.
sure.
Yes.
No worries. Okay. Any questions or comments for Carlos? Okay, seeing none. If petitioner could come up, that'd be great. Remember to state your name and address for the record.
I state your name, yes. Greg Yao at 6 Heather Hill Lane. And just before we get started, Ms. Jerry Kleinhoffner is on Zoom. She's going to be the architect of record. She's with BRP Architects out of Springfield. It's a 4-hour drive to get here, and she just didn't have 8 hours plus the turnaround at night. And then with me in the audience is Jason Braidwood, one of my development partners. So Mr. Chairman, did I give my address? I think I did. Okay.
One second. I'm going to go ahead and bring Ms. Kalhofer
Yeah, bring Jerry in.
just so she's aware.
I don't want her to feel left out.
So Jerry, I'm going to promote you to panelist. Eventually, when you speak, if you can, outside of the mic, to also have your video on. That's for security reasons.
Great. Okay. So thank you for having us. We are back tonight, and as Carlos said, we provided quite a bit of data given the timetable and third-party vendors. It didn't all come in as early as I would have liked. In fact, the lighting plan came in today, but we'll get to that. So my plan for tonight is to run through what I heard and what we changed, and then feel free to take any questions, either interrupt me, we can take them at the end. There's things Jerry's going to cover that she's more versed in as an architect than I am as just a simple developer. So first, we'll start with landscaping. So Carlos, if you want to pull that landscaping plan
Absolutely.
up. So I want to point out a couple of things on our landscaping plan. I challenged our landscape architect to make us a code compliant plan. Under Olivet's code, or at least as part of our, I don't know if it's code wide or part of our agreement, we're given the length of this thing allowed to request up to 20% variance in the number of plant points. We are requesting no variance. I want to point out a couple of things and address the big red, I would say the elephant in the room, but it's in big red font right on the screen. So first off, I want to point out that the team has lined the entire west side, which already has an 8-foot fence with evergreens, right? We heard the concerns of our neighbors. You can see in the elevations that the patio is below or at the same level as the neighbors, so sound does not jump a fence. At the same time, we want to be good neighbors. So this is a fully compliant plan loaded with sound-eating evergreens along the shared line. Number two, you will notice around the patio. Yes, sir.
How tall will those be?
Well, when they're planted, they'll be 4, 5, 6 feet. I can't tell you an exact number, but
But how high will they be?
will they
whenever-
grow?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they'll grow to 8 to, the ones I have at Price Crossing have grown up to about 10, 11 feet.
Okay.
You also see a wrap of planting around the outdoor patio. What is also drawn into the patio as an option that we can do if you would like, it's really, we're going to give it to the commission for discretion. Steve Minton, who's one of the architects on the team who couldn't be available tonight, concepted in a 6-foot fence around the patio. Now, we can do that if you want, given the 8-foot fence and the evergreens, and that this is going to be a limited activity patio at a limited service hotel. I am of two minds. One has to do with security, one has to do with, I'm just more like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'm not sure. We are fully willing, if the commission wants a fence around the patio, it's not going to be live music and bands and lots. It's a limited service hotel patio. If you would feel better on behalf of the neighbors asking us to put in a 6-foot fence around it, totally fine with that. That's what I got for land. So, but just the highlights of the landscape plan are no variance requested, fully compliant, loaded with plants. I thought that was important. Yes.
I just wanted to ask the question, in other places where you've had the patios, does that just turn into a smoking lounge? Or, I mean, it seems like just,
So generally, well, one, I don't own another hotel yet, so this is my first hotel.
because other Courtyard Marriotts.
A lot of the properties have gone to smoke free.
So it's smoke free, the whole campus.
Well, the campus is not smoke. I mean, I don't think we've gone smoke free at our campus. I think there's people that smoke at our apartment building. We're just not seeing anymore. Jerry, do you have any input on that one?
I can help out with that. Most of these limited service hotels now have a limited area where they'll allow people to smoke. So I would assume they're not going to let people out on this back courtyard here smoking because it could bother other guests, right? So there will have to be a station somewhere around the exterior where we do allow smoking for those people.
Likely probably on the southern end of the parking lot.
I was just curious for, the neighbors and whether
Right.
that just becomes a big smoking, lounge because it's not allowed actually in there. So if the smoking can be closer to the highway.
Yeah, I mean, look,
Side might be.
I
more
think if you
comfortable.
want to stipulate into our approval, assuming you would hopefully approve this, that the smoking area be designated to be on the highway side, have no challenge with that at all.
Okay, thank you.
No problem at all. So Carlos talked a bit about the cross sections.
One, if I can.
Oh, of course.
Just for the clarification, so on the screening, the screen wall, right now within the current plan set, it is defined just by flat work, a patio without any edge.
Right. And so if you look at the landscape, yeah, it's
Correct.
probably a flat patio. We'll put a fence around it if you'd like.
No, well, I just wanted to make sure before asking for a fence to something that's already has a perimeter to it. So the perimeter is open and it's defined by the landscaping as shown in the landscape plan right now. So here you would have,
If you can come in from the building or from the two sides
so
or
it was
those
this
trample
piece
landscape.
right here. You see these double lines?
Yep.
Wasn't sure that was a knee wall.
I
or-
believe Steve's intent, Steve
Yes,
who drew this,
that on the floor plans is that being the 6-foot screen wall. You're correct.
Okay, and then the question would be that if the commission does pursue a 6-foot screen wall, it would be good to know what a material you're looking at, or what exactly are you looking at in there, so.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's necessary, I'll leave that to the commission, but if you're gonna require one, what is it gonna be made out of?
Right.
Right.
Okay. So you guys will think about that one as we go farther.
Yeah.
So on the cross sections, a couple things I want to point out, Carlos, if you'll pull that up. So and really predominantly the highway side ones, as we traverse from A to D to F, the elevation of the highway actually changes. So Carlos, if you go over to zoom in on A real quick.
We'll do so, 1 second.
Thanks. There's actually a detail that I don't think you caught when you were going over A, which is there's a wall there. So the highest point is the northern end. The road declines as it heads south. And so there's a few things that are going to interplay. They're going to be hard to show you because they're on multiple sheets. but I'll refer to them and then we'll go take a look at them. So on the north end, the road is slightly higher. That's a little bit deceptive. I find this to be off a little bit. I'm not sure this is 100% right because there's a knee wall that runs along 170. If you drive south, you'll see it.
Barrier.
Yeah, it's a concrete concrete knee wall. So in the areas where we're higher, where we're lower and there's a fence, I think we're okay. We're landscaping in between. When we get to F, so if you go over to F, Carlos, the last one. What you'll see there is we have our drive lane almost up against the property line. And then there's a distance before you get to MoDOT's fence and wall. What I'm thinking is we're going to run some sort of safety, aluminum fence along the side of the drive lane, just so that no one thinks that it's a good idea to go across the drive lane. It's not meant to be there. As it relates to we'll call it the no man's land between our property line and the fence, that is public MoDOT property. I can't give you an answer today what's going to happen there, but I have in the past gotten permission from MoDOT to maintain their property. And I'll give you an example of that. As you turn the radius onto 170 from Olive in front of our detention basin, there's a hill there of grass. We're putting irrigation there and we're going to plant it. It's actually MoDOT's property. They said, just keep it cut. I just have to have that conversation with them about the hotel land. I don't expect an issue. I can't promise control of public property to you. I can tell you that it is in our best interest to, yeah, keep going. There you go. It's that hill there in front of our basin. So we're running landscaping irrigation to that area because I want the entrance to our city to look super awesome. So actually using this, if you want to run south, Carlos, you'll see what I'm talking about. The elevation goes up.
So what fence is that? Are we?
That is MoDOT's, so you're talking about the powder coater?
Yeah, this chain.
That is
link
MoDOT's
that I'm thinking.
fence.
Okay.
That's a MoDOT fence, yeah. It's one of the.
And that's what we saw in your rendering and your elevate.
That's what's referenced in the elevation.
Okay.
That fence runs all the way south along the highway. If you want to jump, like go up the ramp and jump onto the highway. Buckle up. Everybody got their seatbelt on, right? Okay, we're getting on the highway. So you see the wall there? That's the wall reference in all of the drawings. Concrete barrier. Now, as we get to the southern end, where we are south of the power poles, and this is where I'm going to need you to think about this, sort of visualize this in your head. You see the power poles. That's the circle radius at the north end of our project, at the north end of the hotel. That's the power line drop. So as you can see, we're higher at this point, and then as you move south, you get almost level and you see the guardrail barrier. So in between our drive lane and that guardrail barrier is where I want to put a fence to keep people from getting to that guardrail. It's a safety issue for us as well.
I
Great,
think that
'cause-
fence needs to be continued. That's going through there. You can continue that fence all the way through, right?
The
From-
chain link?
Yeah, the chain link.
Well, the chain link belongs to MoDOT. So,
Right.
so here, and this is a design thing. If MoDOT will run a chain link fence on their property, unless you want me to run chain link on our property, I mean,
I'd rather you do something nicer. I just want something a continuous.
right,
fence.
so if you, on the screen there,
Yep.
so I'm thinking where I guess it's probably a merge sign, where the wall ends and the grades start to blend together right
Mhm.
there. That's my primary area of concern is from there south.
What happens from there north?
The elevation keeps rising and you've got that concrete wall barrier there.
I'll drive down there.
So I've done it. Okay. Any other cross-section elevation questions? Cool. So we talked about the patio actually earlier earlier than I had on my list. Again, if you all desire that the patio be wrapped in a 6-foot fence, we're fine doing that. And the material would be complementary, might be some sort of vinyl that'll last and, in a color that Jerry would decide, because I don't do those things.
What other options would you consider?
For a 6-foot fence around a patio?
No, besides a 6-foot fence, just like a rail?
Just landscape.
Yeah.
I mean, we have it landscaped. You know, I guess what's the concern? So therefore, what are we solving for, right? If the neighbors are concerned about seeing or hearing anything, I think a site-proof fence is probably the best solution, right? Wood look, made out of vinyl, right? Or again, whatever Jerry picks. Because with landscaping, if stuff dies and there's gaps and,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have as much of a concern because we have an 8-foot fence and the row of evergreens. But again, if that's what you all want us to do, we'll do it.
Right.
So I think given its fence, landscaping, little bit of landscaping and another fence, like I think we've bubble wrapped it and duct taped it. Again, because we're not having outdoor concerts there. It's a small patio for the guests. But again, your discretion.
Would it be a patio that guests have access 24/7?
Jerry, do you know anything about operating rules on patios at the hotels?
Not necessarily. What's the specific question?
If there are hours, would we limit access, let's say late at night to a patio outside?
I don't know that they do, actually. I've never heard of that or seen any signs in the hotels we've done that limit it.
Carlos, was that part of the development agreement? Did we have anything with hours or?
Not that I'm aware of.
We don't, I'll
Yeah,
just
not-
point out, we don't have limits to our
not to that
courtyard at the
specific-
hotel. I mean, at the apartments. It's simple, you know, you think about it, we have 180 apartments and those residents all have balconies or some of them have ground floor patios.
Right.
We wouldn't clearly have events on the first floor at night,
Right.
right? So, you know, if a guest wants to go sit outside and drink a beer at 11 o'clock at night, it's, you know, the hotel is their home. And as you can see, the proximity of our patios, and I haven't heard any complaints from our neighbors to the south on the Clover Apartments. So, yeah, I don't know that we'd have rules. I think if someone was misbehaving, the management would be like, hey, cut it
Right.
out, right? Because the other guests would complain.
Right.
They're more directly impacted. So, any other questions on that? All right, so Carlos mentioned the pedestrian plan. We can certainly talk about it. But if you'll pull it up, please. I just want to talk about what I labeled and why.
Bear with me 1 second here.
Sure. I didn't realize zoning director became also head of IT. There you go. So what I just wanted to tell you what I manifested here in this drawing, and I didn't do it quite as well as Carlos's Sharpie. I actually used straight lines, just having some fun. So what I tried to show in this was blue is all existing pedestrian path that's currently built as of today, which includes the wraparound Aldi. You can see the little nub in the little in the center of Aldi shows the ramp that comes up from Olive. We've got our ramp on, which is kind of hard to see with the gray, on the right side of lot 3. That comes up from there. I labeled the yellow at grade crossings where the lots all connect, where you actually have to cross one of our internal drives, or in the case of if you're going west on Olive, you use the crosswalk to go west toward Price Crossing. The green is the spine that we're going to extend down to the hotel as part of the development, which gets, from my perspective, it gets the pedestrians in our hotel up to the services in the development. For me, I don't believe that Olivet residents need to walk into the development and all the way south to the hotel and around the back of the hotel, or even non-residents. It's in the back of the hotel, especially at night, is not a place for people who aren't staying in the hotel. We don't want them on the grounds. I don't believe there's a public benefit to have public access around a hotel, especially given it backs up to residential homes. So we're planning on terminating pedestrian access at the north end of the hotel. And it's a safety concern for us. So I'm happy to talk to Carlos, and I labeled the other 2 lots future development. We're not quite there yet, but that's not part of this approval. So I didn't want to start guessing on the rest of lot 5 as to what happened. But I just want to sort of explain what I'm showing and why. And the difference between What you're looking at on the right and on the left also, I think, needs to take into consideration the form and nature of the development changing. North of the hotel was planned to be a large office building. Due to the economy, that's not going to happen. Really don't have pedestrian sidewalks running through restaurants. We'll see what we can do as we build those. We may have a wraparound, but from the hotel standpoint, I think that's going to stop. And as you can see, as it relates to Aldi, for example, what was contemplated with the drive-through versus the Aldi changed that plan. So that's sort of where we are.
It does seem pretty obvious that you would want to have another leg going from the northeast down to the south corner.
Not necessarily.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, you're driving cars to restaurants.
Yeah, but the hotel guests are going to want to walk to the restaurants or
Right.
walk up there. I just,
Well, that's a lot of sidewalk to not have to cross one street.
yeah, I'm talking about kind of up along here to wrap around. Then it becomes kind of a loop.
Right, again, maybe, and that's why I didn't draw it in. As it relates to the hotel, right, I can't commit to confine the development of the other lot until I know what exactly I'm doing with that other lot.
No, I get that.
So
But-
the answer is we might.
But it almost seems like that would be, if you're going to put a sidewalk in, it'd almost be better to have it on that side versus the side that you currently have it on.
Except that's where it's in the development plan and approved to be. So as you can see, it already exists on the east side
No, I
of
get
Clover.
what
So,
you're saying. I'm
yeah.
just telling you what my thoughts are.
no, 100%.
Just because, like you said, things change.
Things change. Absolutely.
But you know, if you're a hotel guest, then you're going to be walking all the way kind of on the west side, all the way down, then have to cross over to the east. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Again,
and-
for the limited number of people that will actually use it. So. But that's, I know Carlos wants to talk about, I guess wants to have a meeting with me about this. So we'll just, as it relates to the hotel portion, this is our proposal. All right, now, next thing up is the lighting plan. So we received 2 lighting plans today, and Jerry and I quickly analyzed them, and I'll tell you the difference between the two. The plan that I'm showing you has 15 20-foot tall fixtures. The alternate plan was cheaper. It had 12 23-foot tall fixtures. We think it's better to go with the shorter fixture and more of them for a more even look and not have the fixtures be as high. What you can see on the plan, if you squint really hard or blow it up really big, is to show that the foot candle ratings that exist die before they cross the, before they get to the fence. So you're seeing readings, projected foot candle readings, and does everybody know what a foot candle is? So it's literally a candle that you can see it lights up 1 foot is the best it's been explained to me, to light 1 foot area. So as you can see, we're projected to have 13 100ths to 20 100ths of a candle at the property line, which again will be shielded with the evergreens and the 8-foot fence. That's at ground level is where those readings are projected to exist. I had some slight adjustments with the direction of one of the fixtures because at one point it was like 0.9 candles at one point along the fence line. So from our perspective, fewer fixtures was cheaper, but they were taller. So we thought, So we went more fixtures at a lower height. And again, in compliance with the lighting code, which is we can't spill light onto the neighbors. And as you can also notice, the majority of all the fixtures are on the east side of the hotel where the drive lane and the parking are. There's only 3 in proximity to our neighbors. And they're turned at such an angle that the light will not cast into their yards. So again, trying to, be fully compliant with the code, trying to make it as low to the ground as possible.
Sure, you're going to have some lighting on the patio?
So we're talking about bollards. We're doing no wall packs. So there was some concern last time about whether there be any light on the building shining. The only light that'll come from the building is if somebody opens their curtains and the light is on, right? we will do some ground mounted bollards that'll be 3 to 4 feet tall, again, well below the fence line. No big light cannons going up or anything like that, just safety lighting.
Yeah, yeah.
Any questions on lighting? Great. Now I'm going to hand it over to Jerry because Jack had relayed that there were some questions about sustainability measures being used in the hotel, and Jerry is much more an expert in that than I am.
Thanks, Greg. One of the hotel partner developers here, I've done several hotels for him in the last several years, and he is very big on sustainability. So we've just been naturally putting several of these things into the hotels. And actually, a lot of the energy code compliance requirements now require us to put a lot of this into the hotels anyway. But I'll just go down a short list I've made today and discuss with Greg about what we typically do. We'll have continuous insulation on the exterior of the building. You are allowed other options for that if you go through the U value path instead of the R value path, but we typically do the continuous insulation on the outside to get better energy efficiency in our exterior walls. We always do high performance glass. We use low flow faucets and plumbing fixtures with sensors. We have high energy efficient HVAC units. We do LED light fixtures. We generally have occupancy sensors in the rooms. And we do have building automation system in the guest rooms, which is required by Marriott, but is above the energy code and building code requirements. This allows the thermostat and sensors in the room to tell the system to kick back, to 68 degrees when it's not occupied. When the occupants leave for the day or something, the energy is saved by noticing that the room isn't occupied and save on the energy costs there. We have lighting control systems. We do schedule control of temperatures. For instance, the fitness room, unless somebody's in there, the temperature automatically goes down in those spaces that are not being used. And then with materials in the building too, we do, the low VOC paints and other things like that are good for the environment also. So that's just kind of a short little list of things we typically do on the hotels.
Okay, thank you. Do we want to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, I got
Do you
one-
have
I got one
anything
more
else that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, one more thing.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so now let's go back, Carlos, to elevations. So at the last meeting, I heard some clear concern, especially about the first floor, which, as you can see in the before and the after, we've now run the fiber cement completely across the front elevation, as well as extended that band over the top of the first floor so that it's breaking that mass up into a smaller chunk. So Steve's done some work with, again, just trying to break that mass up. We didn't touch a whole lot on the other elevations because we were primarily focused on the face where the deficiencies were and where the largest mass was. The new submittal has full details of the materials as well as the colors and the Pantone numbers as requested. And if you are interested, one of the things Jerry can talk about is what the Marriott prototype currently is and what we're doing. Marriott is actually pushing for a monolith of materials, where it looks to be about 90% EFIS, their current prototype. So what we're doing is over and above. Marriott wants, like most franchises, they want everything to look as similar as it can to one another. So when you see one, it looks like another. So we're actually going above and beyond the prototype level of fiber cement to begin with, and then more so as requested by all of you. And I think that concludes, I think I covered everything that was brought to our attention at the last meeting. And Jerry's on, and I'm here, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the petitioner at this time? None? I'm shocked.
I'll grab a couple.
All right, go ahead.
I saw the pictures in the brochure. Is this siding on here? Is this the same siding as what you
Oh, you're
guys
talking
put
about
in?
the,
Yeah,
the example images?
Yes,
Let
sir.
let me pull that up real quick. Get the right file open. So you're talking about Jackson, Michigan?
Yeah, or I can't really see it. Charlotte or Indianapolis looks like maybe the closest one of that.
Yeah, so Charlotte, Jerry, correct if I'm wrong, Charlotte looks like predominantly EFS.
Mhm.
Jackson looks like it's EFS, and then where it says courtyard, as I zoom in, it looks like corrugated metal, black painted corrugated metal.
Yeah, so that's brick over there. That's corrugated. I agree.
And each of these, the issue is each of these was built at a varying time. And so what Steve told us he was trying to represent for you all was, if you look at the Indianapolis West one, there's a lot of masonry on that building. It also looks terrible. It's washed out and it's plain and it's ugh. And I know that's a technical term. I know, Jerry, if you want to add something.
No, my word for it is kind of bland, muted, and not really, doesn't have any pop, I don't think, to it. Just doesn't stand out. And we were trying to be a little bit more closer to the typical prototype, which has those differentiating colors between the EFS and the fiber cement. That Jackson, Michigan one is a really substantial contrast, right? The black and the white. I almost thought that black was maybe just a dark colored EFS. I'm not sure what it is. It's hard to tell from the picture, but it actually mimics the prototype a little bit better than the other two. Of course, you all know that the prototype changes every few years. They upgrade the image, and so the latest prototype that's out there right now, that's what we're trying to replicate. These are obviously a little older prototype or Marriott courtyards. So, but the Charlotte one down on the bottom, I think the reason Steve included that one is it kind of follows, and also probably the Jackson one, what you all tried to suggest, that we not take the EFS down to the ground, that we break it up and not have just such a plain facade. So I think from that aspect, it is successful.
I appreciate that you guys, wrap that lower floor. And I did just some Google things, by searching new Marriott courtyards and just looking at pictures. And I have to say, what I saw, the majority of them all had the first floor kind of wrapped. I think there was only like one or two that didn't, and it was kind of a mix. But I am curious, and I'm not an architect, I'm an engineer. So, but it does seem like the east elevation, the left side, just seems very uniform. And I'm not using the right term, but like the right side has a little bit more of a mix of kind of some dimension, or some depth to it, as well as kind of a mix of that kind of the second floor and then going up to the third floor on the right side.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that was, doing something like that was considered at all for the, the left side of that east elevation, similar to how it was shown in that Charlotte
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, look, I gave Steve the challenge and said, you need to break the mass up, you need to cover the first floor. And when you look at Marriott's prototype and you look at this, again, we're trying to we don't want to go to Marriott and say, oh, look what they approved. And Marriott says, we're not going to let you build it.
No, I get it.
So,
I'm
yeah,
just
I
pointing out
appreciate it.
compared to.
I'm not an architect either, but like, again, this is our proposal is to build this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But did they look at anything else that was kind of similar to
I-
mixing it up. a
Steve
little bit
couldn't be
with
on
the chart.
today. So the architect who drew it isn't available today to family.
Does Jerry know?
Jerry, did you talk to Steve about what he did?
No, we just looked at it together briefly, to be honest. And I had looked at the prototype drawings and I'm looking at them now too. And if you look at that elevation on the prototype, it's Steve's done more than the prototype definitely to help break that whole wall up. Because I see what you're saying. You know, the right side does have a little more dynamic texture to it, the ins and the outs. But the fact of the matter is that whole left side there, all of those hotel rooms are all in a row, right? And unless you want to start adding cost by bumping, extending rooms out and making them a little larger and everything, you have to do it basically with materials. So one thing is that vertical panel that has the little light strips on it over to the left there to break that up.
I like that on the left, the far left. Yeah. It
Yeah.
just seems like a
Yeah,
very uniform block. That's
It's the Marriott Courtyard look.
yeah, yeah, that's straight off the prototype. And it's at the stair tower. In case you didn't realize it, I don't know if we've looked at the floor plans, but that is the stair tower there. So,
yeah, makes sense.
um,
Well, I'm not sure if anybody else feels the same way. It was just a thought that I had.
I appreciate it.
yeah.
Also, like in the Charlotte, it does look like there's some added like wood elements, kind of on that lower level. Is anything like that being planned or anything with a different material at the main entrance being kind of,
Well,
to
Well, the
make it
the
pop?
portico is different. Yeah,
Yeah, the portico shear will have some metal similar to that Jackson, Michigan courtyard there, just because we know we're going to have some steel structure that comes out there and we're going to cover it with some sheet metal. Similar to this one also here. That little trellis over there, I don't think that's any longer in the prototype. Seems kind of tagged on to me too there, or tacked on. But the portico shear definitely will have some metal, sheet metal and painted steel columns and everything.
Anything different with the walls around the entrance, kind of to, mark it as we're
Believe
entering the
so,
courtyard?
because that is per prototype. It pretty much is just those same fiber cement panels right there at that entry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, Marriott prescribes what they give you the guidebook.
No, I get it. I'm just surprised.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the one thing about this prototype, different than some of the others I've worked on, they really are kind of minimalist materials here, right? As few as possible. We do some of the other limited service hotels, and they want you to use 3, 4, 5 different materials, but this prototype here is really more minimal.
Chairman, can I ask, just for clarification, because it does seem in there. So I would assume that what we're seeing here, like, I think there are 9 windows here. There's a little bit more here. So when you're looking at that mass, it's kind of reversed here, but here you have the 9 windows, and then you have here an elevation that's a little longer. Is that what you're
Yeah.
referring to?
Yeah. Yeah,
Between,
that's this one's probably a smaller hotel with fewer guest rooms, I would say. We have 128. That might run 90 to 100 or something instead. And our site's pretty long and narrow, so kind of lends itself to the longer stretch there.
If nobody else has any thoughts on that, or if they like the way it is, I'm good. I don't feel strongly. I'm just throwing it out what I noticed. All right, any other questions or comments?
I just want to clarify, we won't see any of the HVAC units on the roof or anything. They're all inside the rooms, or the big one will be.
So the rooftop unit should be screened by the parapet.
Okay.
And again, it's a limited amount of rooftop HVAC because all the rooms are individually conditioned, but there'll be units for the central hallways, the pool area. So Jerry, do you know what the rooftop equipment package count looks like on a hotel this size?
Yes, I do, and it's probably gonna be about 8 feet tall. These units keep getting bigger and bigger because the code is requiring more and more that we provide fresh air to these hotels. So
I
we
agree.
probably will need to do some type of a screen wall up on the rooftop that matches or complements the exterior wall of the hotel.
Okay. Does that work for you?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. As long as they're screened.
Yep,
Yeah,
we'll screen them.
Okay.
yeah, we will need to screen it. Every city is asking us to do that, so we're not surprised.
Can we put that in as a condition?
Yes, we can add that.
I'm good.
Yeah, good. Anything else? Go ahead.
Can we? Can we go back and talk about the patio just 1 second?
Yeah.
Um, just, I know that you had mentioned like a screen wall. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear. So the evergreen, there's already evergreens or a barrier there.
So there's the 8-foot fence on the property line. Yeah, so this is what, so there's the black dashed line is the 8-foot fence. We're gonna plant an entire row of evergreens
Okay.
on our side of it, the entire length of the hotel. There'll be more plantings surrounding the patio, and Steve has drawn in a 6-foot high screen wall, like U-shaped screen around it. If you all want it. Yes.
So I guess my only concern is if it's only U-shaped, then if somebody would walk past that dead end,
Mhm.
that they could get to the patio.
In
if-
theory.
In theory.
Sure.
And so that's also goes back to that safety issue that you mentioned, that like I can understand why you would not want a path around, but I also would not want somebody to be able to walk in, get onto patio and be able to get into the hotel for the safety of the people staying at the hotel either.
Well, the door out to the patio has to, you have to have a key to open the door.
People prop those open. I've been
People
in
do
enough,
prop them open.
I've been in enough
Yeah.
hotels.
And we'll probably have a perimeter security camera system as well for security. Yeah, I mean, when we go to build it, is a gate a great idea? It might actually be. For me, the key was trying to solve the challenge of the concerns of the neighbors as it related to sound. If we need to wrap, there's good and bad. If it's completely wrapped and you can't see what's going on inside, that's not great either.
That is true.
So there's a delicate balance there. And so, our message is, the concern I heard was from the neighbors about noise coming off the patio. And so for that reason, we'll put up a fence. If the security part of it, I'm going to defer to our consultants when they build it as to what the best option is.
I'm not, personally, I'm not so sure about a fence. I don't really think personally, I don't think a fence is necessarily needed. I think some plantings around it. But I would also definitely like to see some kind of, I guess, like security measure, just so that the doors can't be propped open or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a design element I'll have to talk to the team about, but yeah, I mean, we'll have fences. We'll have a sign as you come south that says, hotel guests only.
Mhm.
Will people violate that? Of course, people are people,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah.
They drove through my wet new sealer at Price Crossing, and they drove through the ropes and drove onto wet sealer yesterday. That was fun. Yes. Oh, yes, yes. If you go to the floor plan of the hotel, on first floor, there we go. So zoom in near so you can see the general manager's office shares a wall with the patio. And there's a straight shot. If you scroll up a little bit more, Carlos, there. So the reception can see out from the reception at an angle all the way down through outside too. So again, we're not going to want any security issues. So know that we're going to address it. I mean, just the Clover, for example, is a fully secure apartment building. Could someone walk down the drive lane, hop over a 5-foot fence and end up in the patio area? If they want to, they're going to find a way.
Right.
But we are going to deter. But again, it's not meant for the public. It's meant for the guests. But great question.
Okay, anybody else? Sam? No? Okay, how do we feel about that fence? Do you guys want to talk about it now? Everybody feel strongly about, anybody feel strongly about having it in? Or no?
I do.
Do you like it in?
Yes, I'd like it.
Perfect, perfect.
I prefer it in.
Prefer
Not
it.
strongly, but I prefer it.
Okay, Sam?
51%, like it, 49% down. I mean, just a little bit. I think the point is well taken. We've got all kind of these other things happening here, so I don't think it would be the end of the world if it's not there, but if it's being offered, I'll take it.
Yeah. How do you?
I'm at a 50-50. I think screening with landscaping is more than plenty, and I would be shocked if anybody actually walked all the way down there just to get into that patio.
Right,
So
right.
I think it's overkill, honestly.
Right, so.
I think go ahead, Brent.
Well, and I think I'm less concerned about the security because people are gonna walk where they're gonna walk, but at the end of the day, the neighbors have come, they've shown up, they've been concerned about the noise. It's one extra barrier to protect the noise. It's easier to build it now than do it later.
Yeah.
It's kind of my view.
So we'll do a U, and then if security requires us to maybe close it and gate it, we'll deal with that as an operational issue.
Yeah.
But at a minimum, we'll build some form of U. There'll be landscaping around the outside of it as well. Great, no
Sure,
problem.
it's gonna match the, be tastefully done to match the.
I can assure you that Jerry will pick tasteful colors.
One of the things I do want to note, and I do entrust that you would, and Jerry too, that, that it's not just like a vinyl fence that you'd see in a residential area. I think the commission has been pretty lenient on the enforcement of some of the materials per code, and I think that's fine. And I know it would probably be called a vinyl fence, but I would hope that it
But
kind of,
pattern and material, it will complement the hotel. Yes, 100%. It's not going to look like, oh, it's, a dog-eared 6-foot fence from somebody's backyard.
exactly.
Not there's anything wrong with dog-eared 6-foot fences because I have one at my house. But yes, I get your point. Yeah, it'll be it will aesthetically complement the look of the courtyard. We don't want it to stand out and look cheap.
Yeah, I can assure you Marriott will not let us do something that doesn't complement the building. That they're pretty strict about that, so,
Okay, good, good. All
yeah.
right. I think if there's no further questions or comments from commission members, I think we'll take on some public comments.
Excellent.
All right, thank you. very
I'll be
much.
here.
All right. Does anybody in the audience have any public comments related to this agenda item? Seeing none in the audience, Carlos, you please check online.
The only person online is regarding one of the petition items.
Okay, good. So no other questions or comments? No other public comments? Do we have any outstanding issues? Carlos, you said you wanted to discuss the sidewalk issues.
Yeah, I
Pedestrian
think
way.
that's still one of the things we want to discuss with the petitioner
Okay.
in there. Again, pushing for a more comprehensive pedestrian network within the site that's fully encompassing. We'll be glad to work with them in that
You mean
process.
within the hotel site or the project?
I think the development as a whole, which includes the hotel site, I think
Which again, we're willing to do, but I see those as separate. And I mean, or you're saying no moving forward on the hotel until we solve.
No, I think that there's still opportunities for the city to continue to work with you through that process in there. And some of it is going to be dependent as we gotten a little closer. I was going to ask, but given the time, because we're starting to see a little bit of things that are going to come in the future in here. But I think that network is going to get further developed, and integrated with whatever happens with the old Lot 5.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm just curious more from a standpoint of a potential recommendation of approval for the hotel. Is it a
Well,
chicken and
I
an
think we
egg?
want to
Or-
make sure that we're going in the right direction, and then the hotel aspect of it is hammered out in there. I still just real quickly, just from a view on what I believe is in the wording of the developers agreement, and then what we have here, you have it, but I think you still need to define more of that aspect of it.
But again, Carlos, I don't intend to have public pedestrian access to a hotel. It's not like, this is, and I appreciate it, but we developed that concept sort of in a vacuum 7 years ago. And
And
markings on all,
and that's where we need to talk about, because I disagree.
okay,
All right.
yeah, I mean, I just,
I would rather hold off than talk about it now
okay,
with you personally.
all right. So we'll have a meeting and I guess I'll see you guys again.
All right. Yes, ma'am. Remember, when you come up, remember to state your name and address for the record.
I'm Meg Hefner. I'm at 715 North Price. And just regarding the sidewalks, and as someone who walks and someone who travels and stays in hotels, when I stay in a hotel, I really want a way to walk to the restaurants and to the walking areas in the community where the hotel is staying in. So I agree with what Carlos is saying, that you really, I mean, not necessarily around the north end of the hotel, but up to it and to the other things in that area and to the, you know, the greenway and the other walking areas in the area. That's what some of the people staying in the hotel are going to want, sidewalk access to the rest of the community as well.
Kind of a loop around.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't need to go around the north side of the hotel, but it needs to come up to the hotel and through the development would
Yeah.
be, as a user, would be my thoughts on that.
Thank you for your comment. Appreciate it. Anybody else have any public comments now that we added one? So thank you for that. Okay, seeing none. Okay, so I think we'll table this and we'll move on, let you have the time.
And just to make sure, Chairman, I think is what I've heard from the commission, not to commit, but just because by, then our next meeting would be November 20th. But it sounds like in terms of the landscaping, the noise, the grading, the materials, that the commission is pretty comfortable with the packet as we're so far in there. Again, we're still looking at the lighting. We still want to talk about the pedestrian aspects of it in there, but that wouldn't be anything that would hold up, you know, the next round of action. But to make sure that we, you know, we've stated what we're looking for when Lot 5 gets developed in there. I'm hoping November 20th, the commission would be set or ready for some or to consider action.
Yeah.
How long do we have to?
On the fence on that.
The fence by the highway.
Oh, okay.
Put the fence on by the highway.
How long do we have to take an action, Carlos?
Pardon?
How long do we have?
If action's not taken November 20th, I need a written extension from the developer. I think we have till the end of the month, but we won't have our next meeting till December. So
Got it.
is that right?
I would like to hear from the architect about that left side. So,
Well, and that's where I'm trying to get, if there's something specific. We still have one member
feel
that's
strongly about it, but I would just like to see what kind of thoughts he had about it, just to get an architect's point of view on it.
and for me, just to figure it out, is it the mass, the overall mass along that and
Big
its length?
rectangle,
Okay, that's
the
what,
big rectangle.
all right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's all uniform, you know, right there. So, but I'd love to hear from the architect what his, you know, thought process was. Hopefully, yeah, and that's perfect. You know, it's one of those things, I don't feel strongly about it, but I would like to just hear what he has to say about that. All right? All right, good. Okay, thank you very much for the discussion, presentation, and everything you've done so far. So, good. All right.
Thank
So
you.
we'll move on to I can't find my agenda item. Oh, there we go. Okay, thank you, Sam. We'll move on to new business, 715 North Bryce Road. Carlos?
I'm gonna go ahead and Ms. Doty is gonna go through the next items.
All right.
Hi. The item for you, 715 North Price, is a site plan review for a fence on a legal non-conforming lot. The fence itself is existing and it is over the fence requirement as it is at 4 feet. And it connects to a 6-foot fence. The idea is to replace and improve that, or, basically replace it with, updated materials. And then, but no other major changes otherwise. And the portion of the fence that is 6 foot in height would remain as it is. Um, there is one additional request to require a 5 foot additional setback at where Villa meets at North Price to allow for better visibility for traffic. But otherwise, we do not have any issues. So the fence as it is depicted here, the improved, I get, the improved materials would be a black, what is that? Oh,
To match the house.
well, there we go. And you're welcome to come up to the come up to the podium and state your name and address, please.
I'm Meg Hefner, 715 North Price. So this is our fence.
Okay. Thanks
Sounds
for
good.
clarifying that it's white, because it wasn't on the record with,
Well, it is in your, it is.
In the packet, it says black, and I figured I could clarify that here.
Yes, yes.
Didn't need to
Good.
reprint anything.
Okay. While you're here, does anybody on the commission have any questions related?
I have a question. I have a couple of questions. One, did you consider any other type of fence that maybe would look more appropriate for the farmhouse that it once was, in terms of like a split rail fence or something in wood rather than, an aluminum fence? And is there a reason why you need to go to the 5 foot rather than the 4 foot?
It's 4 foot.
I'm sorry, it is 4 foot.
Yeah, it's 4 foot, which is the same height as the current fence.
Okay, I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Is there, the practicality is, I'm curious why the fence in the first place, and so is it to keep pets in? Because there's not fence across the front of the property, so it's a little confusing to me as to why
Well,
now?
we don't currently have pets for that. You can see there's also a little strip of the fence that comes over to the house there. So, so it would have an area that would be able to confine a dog. But the main thing is that we've always had a fence there, and it's a 300-foot stretch along the street, and we don't want people just coming through our yard. As it is, the kids who are waiting for the school bus at Price and Villa do cut across our front yard to get into Castle Ray. And that's okay, and we're used to that, and that's fine. That's, but if that's open there, it just opens up the whole yard for people coming in, because it's a really long stretch of yard. It's really inviting. There's that whole circle of Castle Ray on the other side of it, and so we would have people and dogs, and so it won't keep the deer out, unfortunately. They ate all my tomatoes. But and as far as the materials, we didn't want a vinyl fence, both because of the look and because that gets gets mildew and that kind of thing. And when we figured out, we didn't want the black aluminum that others, because that just doesn't go with our white farmhouse. So we were going for something white, and we wanted something that's going to be less maintenance than the wood, which is why the aluminum. Did you want to say?
I'm Peter Wiedenbeck. Just one other point as to why we want the fence there. As you can see from the photograph and what we have, we've been in the house for 35 years. The fence is a lot older than that. It is rusting, deteriorated steel wire. But the reason I want the fence is because in the back part of it, right, we used to have kids regularly climbing over it. And that's part of why it's badly deteriorated, is it hasn't been an issue so much in the last few years, but
We
depending on
we
the
don't
age of
really have
kids.
teenagers in the neighborhood at the moment.
But that was it, is that we'd often have people jumping over or climbing over the back of the fence at the back of the lot.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Great, Tim.
So if I'm, Carlos, if I'm reading this right, 3 foot is the code for the front of the yard.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why they're here.
So that's why they're here?
Yes, if they would have came in with a 3 foot fence, and then we wouldn't require they would be before the commission.
It's both the height and the setback that we don't want it set back as far as the front yard one would require. Because it's a long villa, the sidewalk's on the other side of the street. Doesn't need to be set back that
How
far.
close is this to your?
They're about 5 feet from the curb, I think.
Okay.
So, but they're not, this is a non-conforming fence currently, and we're gonna allow another non-conforming
And
fence?
improve a nice.
Why they're here, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
We've been, it's been,
That one was
I mean,
grandfathered in
it's the
60
sta-
years ago.
Is there a standard for approving non-conforming in our code? Because to me, if it should meet almost the standard for a variance, and I don't see anything
It-
unusual about this property that would suggest that a variance would be
it
needed.
is a very good question, and our code specifically addresses that. When the regulations regarding fencing were adopted, that chapter was specifically made independently. And the process for what I'll call a variation as opposed to a variance was given to the commission because it is an aesthetic consideration. If the council would have not provided the variation process through the commission, you are correct. It would have had to go to the zoning board of appeal, and it would be based on conditions of the property and hardship. But the council, through its consideration, is really looking at this as more a streetscape, an aesthetic aspect of it. And therefore it grants the commission the ability to grant some, to consider this because you have more flexibility than the zoning board does.
So is there a reason this fence can't be 3 feet instead of 4 feet?
Because kids will just hop right over if it's
Got
3 feet.
spikes.
There are neighbors that have 3 foot fence and I see them all the time and that would not, it also wouldn't look right. Just from an aesthetic point of view, a 3 foot fence would not look good. And it doesn't, the aluminum ones don't come in that size. We wouldn't be able to do that.
I'm personally okay with it. I think it looks nice. I think it's gonna be a nice.
I'd like to
improvement.
see the material. I mean, we've been told it was black, it's now gonna be white. I'd like to see the material before I.
Well, that's why you have the drawing there. There was a picture up of I just saw something that went by that was like, oh, that's almost the same thing. But well, anyway, it's white. It's a picket style. They call it a spear point. I don't have they didn't, that was as much of a photograph as they could give us. But I sort of spent actually literally years looking at fences that I see around town and what do I like and what do I think would look appropriate for our farmhouse. And this is what we came up with. Honestly, some of the other things that you suggested would be a lot cheaper. This is a $15,000 fence. Yeah, this is, it would be similar to this, but as you could see on the other thing, it's got the spear point. So it has sort of a look. It's not a wooden picket fence, but it's got that sort of a look. You can see through it more, which for the corner visibility is better too. Yeah, very well, similar to that. It's not going to have the double row at the top, just a single row and just going up to a spear point rather than that fancy thing. It's a farmhouse. We want it to look relatively simple.
Go down that one right there. This is the closest one. One of those.
Outdoor metal.
Okay, any further discussion or questions? Are people still concerned about the material selection?
Yes.
I would only note that the suggested motion would need to change it from black to white,
Yeah, yeah.
but otherwise.
Do you want to further discuss the?
No, I
the
just,
mel-
I need further discussion and I don't think it's an appropriate style. I don't think it's an appropriate color and I think it should be 3 foot and I don't think that we should be varying from our zoning code on this. It should be placed within the setback that it's supposed to be. So I don't think there's anything that can be said that's gonna change my mind,
Okay.
And
Yeah,
that's,
right.
everybody's on their own.
How does
That's fine.
everybody else feel? You know, before we, is there anything that we need to further discuss before we call this motion?
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking about the setback. Um, do we have an issue with the setback?
We're requesting additional setback at the corner. So it is approximately 5 feet from the corner or from the road at the moment. So it would meet, or I
Yeah,
believe it's
it
in
currently,
in
this current
place.
fence ends beyond the stop sign where we would have this end is before the stop sign. And before the, where the cars pull up to see what's going on Price Road there.
Instead of running the fence to this post we see right here. The stop sign or behind it
Yeah, I think it ends up behind it.
here.
What Carlos is saying.
At the white bar, they're gonna continue up here and then look up and down. So we want to make sure that, you know, right now, you can see through there, but want to improve that visibility for.
So you want it moved further beyond where she says it's going to be at the
No,
stop
and
sign?
we had the
Oh.
discussion, so
Okay,
right now,
that's-
what you have on your plan, it shows it up to this post here, and I'm gonna assume like this is the last post.
Yeah,
We're just gonna do it about halfway, aligning it with the.
perfect.
the
That's what's already been agreed to.
Correct.
I understand. Sorry. Okay. Anybody want to further discuss things before we set a motion?
I mean, I guess I'll just say for the record, I'm leaning more towards Petrie's position
Okay.
on it. I'm not totally convinced.
Petrie has a number of issues, so which are you?
All of them.
All
I
of
think
Uh,
Petrie, so maybe I won't restate it other than to say Petrie and I are generally in agreement.
Okay. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we, while everybody's getting a chance to think about it, let's just see if we have any public comments related to this agenda item. And then we might have some more further discussion. You can go ahead and sit down. Appreciate it. So are there any public comments related to this agenda item? Okay, seeing none in the audience. Carlos, will you please check online?
Note the only person online is for one of the a different agenda item.
Okay, great. All right, so
So, Chairman, I'm going to note a couple of things in there because in the discussions with them, I mean, it would be in the city's best interest to get this fence replaced. But there's nothing in the code that I have authority to tell it has to be removed. It's grandfathered in, it's been there, and you can look at the various Google streetscapes of how it's been there, in there, and they're looking to replace it with the same height. Not saying that that's okay, in there. As you look at compatibility and design, I mean, essentially, this is what they're trying to make it look like in there. We took a look at it and we've met at the site. And, you know, they're aware of like the past approvals and they saw the videos, you know, we told them to talk about the videos and what the commission has authorized closer to the road. This is a good example of one in which now this fence got removed and it's up here in there. And, you know, they're willing to make theirs, you know, opaque and comply with those aspects. The fence ordinance has been really difficult to pin down to what is acceptable for the commission. Now, the commission members change and go, you know, in there, but we did have it on our work list because I think, you know, for staff, it is getting difficult to give direction to petitioners because when we think something's not going to work, it works. And when we think something is going to work, it seems like there's obstacles to it in there. I think, again, I'll stress, this is an old fence. It's deteriorating. It would be in the city's best interest to get it removed. Now, whether it gets replaced in kind or not, you know, I think it's seen its best days long ago in there. And the petitioner's been cooperative to work with us to consider these different scenarios and setback some. There are parts that are going to stay. You know, I'll be honest. In there, you know, this is not being removed or changed. They have other fencing down on the other side in there. So overall, the character isn't going to be much different in terms of its placement in there. Now, do they have to substantiate a hardship? It's a very good question. And so, but the process of the hardship is not like if you're at the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's given, the council specifically gave that task to the commission because it's really aesthetically, does it enhance or is it compatible with the community and the community's values? And that's for you guys to judge.
Carlos,
Ms. Doty has a question.
can you speak at all as to how that 3-foot number was reached? Is that codified somewhere? Is that something?
It is yes, by the code, if somebody was putting up a fence here, you know, where they had no fence, if it's between the street and the house, it should be no more than 36 inches.
And any justification you're aware of aesthetically for that 3-foot cutoff?
Oh, why we got to that
Yeah,
point?
I'm asking you to speculate a little bit, maybe, but
I don't know. Is the question about how did we get to the three? How was
why
3 feet?
why 3 instead of 4? Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't answer you. And maybe it's half because the tallest fence that we would allow in residential properties is 6 feet. So maybe the thought was, okay, half of that can go in the front, you know, half a height can go in the front yard.
Do we typically not, on other buildings, it seems like the side fence cannot start until the building front.
That is correct.
So but you're asking for us to approve all the way to Price. Why can't it just stop at the house like any other property? Like, why wouldn't it stop right at the front facade and just be open? I realize that they have issues with kids cutting through, but everybody has those issues that lives on a corner.
Mhm.
There's not a sidewalk on that side of the street, as pointed out by the petitioner. So I don't even know why we're even considering allowing a fence beyond the house toward Price. I don't.
One is because they can, and two is what they're here before the commission is, can they do it a foot higher than the?
Okay, so
6?
we do allow then a fence to go from the front of the property line all the way to the back of the
Yes, and if I
property line.
misunderstood.
Is that true on anybody's property?
That is correct.
Okay, I misunderstood.
And Petrie, I agree, we should look at that. That was the first thing that I looked at was
Mhm.
during that code section, because I don't agree. I agree we should not allow that. But according, that's what I was gonna ask Carlos, according to him, though, that per the code, they're allowed. It's just the question, are they allowed to have a 3-foot or a 4-foot instead of a 3-foot fence? Is my understanding of this. My other thing is across the street from this house, it looks like there's a little white fence too as well that we just saw a little picture of.
Yes, I'll go. Let me get to it. right here.
That. How tall is that fence?
That's 36 inches.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I used to live on a very unique property as well here in Olivet. My side front yard was 220 feet. And I inquired about a fence and I was told I had to put a wrought iron fence and I could not go more than 3 foot high. And at the time I had a golden retriever that could jump a 3-foot fence and was told it was that way, nothing I could do about it. So I totally understand that. And, you know, since then I've moved and I have a fence and all those kinds of things. I don't necessarily have, there's a fence there. To me, it's replacing a fence that's already there to make it look nicer and to improve the looks. And if you stop the fence to make better visibility at the corner, I think that's helpful, one. If you stop it way back at the house, you're going to have not just kids cutting through, you're going to have bikes cutting through, you're going to have everything cutting through that corner. So I can see why they would want to keep a fence up as far as possible. And at 3 foot, some dogs could jump it easily. So I don't see the big, like, it's already a 4-foot fence. I think improving the looks of it is well worth the extra foot in height, I guess.
Yeah. Good, good. All right, any other further discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, do I hear a motion? I think we might as well, I think we've talked this out. I think we might as well put our votes in. Unless you would like to further discuss anything. It's okay if you don't. I've just given you the option. Good, good. Thank you. Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Good, good.
A motion to approve a petition for a site plan review to authorize an ornamental fence variation to install a 4-foot white ornamental aluminum fence along Villa Avenue as presented in the memorandum from the Department of Community Development dated November 6, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein.
Motion's been made by Laura Ragsdale. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Okay. Commissioner Ragsdale,
Approve.
Commissioner Spiegelglass,
Approve.
Commissioner Ford, Commissioner Powell,
Deny.
Commissioner Wallach,
Deny.
Commissioner Jurgel,
Approved.
and the motion passes 4-2.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Wasn't expecting that myself, but I guess we got some work to do on the fence standard. So I think we'll be encouraged to kind of hash that out. So, all right. Appreciate everybody's discussion and everything. So let's move on to the next agenda item. Teacher, do you mind if I borrow this?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, we'll move on to item B, which is 9658 La Jolla?
La
Jolla.
La Jolla.
Jolla. Sorry. La Jolla Drive. All right. Who's taking this?
That would be me.
All right.
And yes, this is a residential addition on a lot that is legal, non-conforming. It is deficient in area and in depth. This is before you for site plan review because it is required based upon that, and the size of the addition exceeds the allowed or what we can do administratively. It does not exceed our ability. It simply exceeds our administrative ability to approve it without your consent. So we are looking for your review to consent to this addition. We do have a few things that are that we would require, and that would be stormwater management and a revised boundary survey. As far as the stormwater management concerns go, there are rain barrels that are proposed. And we would want to, make sure that meets the, I'm sorry, we just have to ensure that it meets that criteria upon building permit. So Otherwise, the revised boundary survey should indicate the correct setbacks, specifically in the side and rear yard. But otherwise, it is, there aren't any, major concerns. It is a front-facing garage, I believe, which is generally not encouraged under our, sorry, but yeah, but it is simply it's a front facing garage, but there's really no, or it's simply where it was previously,
Okay,
or where they are parking currently.
good, good, good.
Sorry,
Yeah,
this, yeah, I
You're
haven't
doing
noticed
just
one.
fine.
Yeah,
You're
thanks.
doing just fine. Any issues with building materials or things like that that was, that when you went through your review?
Not that had been noted in, in here, although, the materials are specified, and were consistent with the rest of the household.
Good, good, good. Okay, great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious, when we look at carport to a garage, do we count the square footage of the carport and subtract that from the garage, or is it no, we're tearing down the carport and the garage? Like, I guess I'm just curious, because there was an existing structure there, it's not being closed, but how does that work? Does the garage count completely and you don't count the carport?
Sorry. It's a good question. Unfortunately, because the carport comes down prior to that placement, I have to count it as new. That footprint is new. And we looked at it and to see if we could justify it within code of that opportunity. And as Don noted, I mean, this is just a little over 50 square feet beyond the threshold that administratively we would have had in there. And the petitioner has been patient to work with us on this process that we kind of, explained as we went through in there. But that being said, too, it's still beholden to the commission to look at it from its design principles and take a look at that. And one thing I'll note just for Ms. Doty on that, I mean, so it is a front entry garage. The guidelines don't discourage front entry garages, but they don't want a front entry garage that protrudes in front of the house in there. And in this nature, it's flushed with that elevation. So I think she was right. I just wanted to stress that.
I appreciate that. That's good. Go ahead, Tim.
I just have a question. I think that's great, but so the rain barrels, just out of curiosity, would that count as a retention area?
Correct, because of the threshold for doing a engineered detention area is 1,200 square feet. So anything between any improvement that's between 400 and 800 square feet, they have to do something, and we refer to the MSD examples that they have on their site, and what rain barrels, rain gardens, and mulch areas are acceptable.
It is great. I think it's great.
The petitioners are here, Mr. Michaud. If you would like to approach and you have anything to say.
Well, I don't know. if
Oh,
we're
I'm
talking
so
about
sorry.
Questions
Oh.
or comments from staff? You're still on the line. Does anybody have any further questions?
Just to clarify, so the materials are gonna match the existing edge of the house. It's gonna be the same masonry on the bottom and the same siding above it. That might be a question for the petitioner.
Yeah.
Maybe the petitioner could
Yeah, okay.
clarify.
Oh, but please state your name and address.
Yes, Darius Michaud at 9068 La Jolla. Yes, the proposed garage will be match the siding and the same materials that already exist. Like I said, it's a single car carport, trying to just do a 2-car garage and for safety for, hail damage, storms, protect our cars and for safety of my wife, kids and family.
Yeah.
But it is siding, or the materials are siding. It's not a mix of bricks and siding, correct? Oh, there is brick. Oh, there, you can see it better.
Yes, brick at the bottom,
Alright.
then siding.
Yeah, on
And
our
it's not
screen.
linked up
There
to
you go.
match the existing.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Good, good, good. Thank you. Thank you. So is there anything you want to add to this? Right now, walk us through anything.
No, I mean, pretty straightforward, just a basic 2-car garage, nothing special.
Good.
Just gonna keep it the same and
Yeah.
hopefully it works out.
Yeah, Very good. Say, anybody, while you're here, does anybody have any questions or comments for the petition? All right,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Because I live over there and there's another house where they did the roof, but they did like a little bit up. Are you gonna go still flush with the addition?
Yes, definitely flush with it. This is
Okay.
match it. Yeah, all the way across.
Okay.
Good, good. Any other questions for the petitioner? All right, seeing none, appreciate it.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll see if there's anybody in the audience that has any public comments related to this agenda item. I see none in the audience. And Carlos, this, the person that's online is for another agenda item, is that right? All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, that being said, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, do I hear, do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Go ahead. Dan.
Motion to approve a petition for site plan concept stormwater management and community design review for a 556.5 square foot residential garage addition at 9658 La Jolla Drive, as presented in the memorandum from the Department of Community Development dated November 6, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein.
Motion's been made by Sam Wallach. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded by Laura Ragsdale. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Approve.
Commissioner Ragsdale,
Approve.
Approve.
Commissioner Spiegelglass, sorry.
Approve.
All right, Commissioner Ford,
Approve.
Commissioner Powell,
Approve.
Commissioner Wallach,
Approved.
and Commissioner Drago.
Approved.
Okay, so the motion is passed 6-0. The next step in the process is to continue the permit review in there, and then I'll talk to the inspectors tomorrow and then try to get you an idea of the timeframe. Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, number C, 13 Crosswinds Drive. Dawn, are you handling this?
Yes, sir.
All right.
It's the Dawn Show tonight.
You're doing great.
So I think that, or I may have made a mistake earlier, but, this 13 Crosswinds, is a legal non-conforming lot. It is deficient in depth and area. This is a new single-family home, which always come before PCDC, so there's no, administrative approval for that. There have been a number of concerns about this property, and as far as sorry, flip my notes over. There are a number of things to finalize. We received a new set of plans yesterday that have not been incorporated into this presentation whatsoever. We have not had time to review those, and it's not listed among the final plan submissions that it would have to be consistent with, or that our approval would have to be consistent with. But that is, I think that's something we can do administratively. Things that we would need to pay attention to most closely would be the to finalize the site plan and the stormwater plan with our stormwater consultant to have, that fully reviewed. The tree protection and replacement, as far as the most recent most recent plans, which are the October 13th, we required some, or we requested some additional information on the trees, as far as the 7 replacement trees that they are proposing. We do not have the species. The new plans, I do not know if that contains that information. There is one tree in the front yard that is deemed good to fair. However, it is a pin oak. Nope. No, I'm sorry. It is simply, I think I'm getting the two confused, or I'm getting it confused with the next proposal. My bad.
That's all right.
So This one, we still have an issue with the tree replacement. It is not sorry. Now that I know that I have confused the two, I've got to rewrite my brain cells. So 2 replacement trees would be required by code. If they because they are proposing to keep 3 or protect 3 trees. So as far as but they are deficient still in 1 tree. The new plans may account for this. I cannot, as I've said,
Cannot
speak to
attest to it.
cannot attest to the new
Yeah.
plans. So
Have you looked at the new plans at all just to see what anything major changes?
if any of these things have been checked off, no.
Okay.
As far as and you know, we've listed it all out, but the proposed the stormwater management is key to this. It runs 13 crosswinds, I believe, that towards the north, which I'm not very familiar, but it's a
Well, it doesn't sound like we're gonna be able to do much action on this tonight, right? But I still think it would be worthwhile, while we have, if the petitioner is here, if he could come up and maybe kind of go over briefly as to what the changes are. I'm gonna spend 5 minutes just to see what changes are done to the plans, to see if he's addressed any of these concerns that have been expressed. Is the petitioner here? Okay,
Oh,
That
I'm
answers
sorry.
that.
The petitioner is online,
Okay.
and Carlos is doing his IT magic, which he would put most IT managers to shame.
good. So maybe we could just briefly hear from him, that he could kind of go over what the new plan set has, if it's addressed any of these issues, and then we'll kind of table it for the next meeting.
Okay,
All right?
Harry, you want to try speaking?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, name and address.
Yes, my name's Harry Freeman. I live at 14 Woodacre Road. I am the builder, and basically, I guess my question is we met with Carlos and your stormwater engineer out at the site. The plan that we resubmitted earlier this week or yesterday was basically a revision of the site plan to talk about and implementing what we all talked about at the site. We're not changing any of the house or any of that. And they added the additional tree needed, which we are going to meet the tree prevention. Your ordinance, whatever is removed has to be replaced, which we have no issues with. So I mean, there's really no, I guess my comment is we met with them and we basically implemented what they wanted for the rear to have where the current stormwater in the back of that yard is a current stormwater concrete basin that's all broken up. And the new engineering plans showing a swale to keep the water in the same direction that it is today. We're not really changing it. We're just kind of cleaning it up, but we met with and I guess, Carlos, you can speak for the conversation we were there. That plan is everything that we spoke about with your engineer.
So that, Chairman, if I can go ahead and address
Yeah,
that
please do.
on there. So yes, Mr. Freeman's correct. We did meet with Mr. Freeman along with an adjoining property owner to the back to talk about this channel that they have that runs in the rear of the property. It's one of these MSD lines where you have, built infrastructure and then it stops and the pipe just lets the rest go in there, and then it kind of feeds its way southward in there. So the plan set that you have here, it looks like Mr. Carswell noted, this was the plan we got yesterday. I think Mr. Freeman's right. We do have this from yesterday. I think Jack put in here what we're looking for within the conditions of the approval. And there you can see the stormwater detention pit is now in the front yard. Got moved from the rear in here, and then they're actually going to connect to the MSD main. So all that roof runoff will go into a detention pit. Once the detention pit gets full, it'll actually release into the MSD system in there. So
Is that allowed?
yes.
Great.
It is. It's a
didn't know that
nice
was allowed.
aspect in there. Before MSD did not allow it. The engineer that Mr. Freeman is working for has done that before with a couple of other developers in our area and has managed to get those set. What MSD doesn't want is the downspouts to directly go into the main line. But if you can hold it for a while, like you in a detention pit, then you can release it into the main line. So that way, when the storm passes, it's not overwhelmed because you're kind of holding off
Yeah.
some of it.
That's great.
So anyway, long story short. So yes, Mr. Freeman's correct. I think in the conditions, it's noted what staff needs, but we got this yesterday in there. And apparently, I mean, they did turn it around quickly after we met on the 8th, but we didn't get a copy of it till yesterday.
Has the stormwater consultant reviewed this yet?
Not the finalized plan, but it incorporates what the stormwater consultant talked about.
And he was there.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, we would still, under those conditions, want to send it back just to make sure, verify it,
Yeah.
to take a look at that. And I think Mr. Carswell and Ms. Doty had the conditions listed on the staff report if it was considered.
Okay. Well,
And then there is a
how comfortable do you feel with potentially, moving on?
they've been very cooperative in this one, because in this case, one of the conditions is that the city's requesting that the petitioner provide a drainage easement on that property, because we're aware of how MSD has this set up and the issue, and we don't have issues, but the conditions that are along here that go further down to the south, if you bear with me, I'm going to pull up a Google map in there. And while we don't have a solution because we're developing on a lot by lot basis, when we talk about our stormwater master plan, hopefully within the next couple of months, we're looking to be a little bit more proactive and at least obtain an easement. So if we ever get in a position with MSD for financing or improvements, we would have secured what's necessary on the property. So bear with me one second here. And you can see this is the outline. And then back here is, it opens, and then there's a concrete, like a ravine that you can see runs here, and then drains down to our neighbors to the south.
Are there any issues with that to the neighbor on the south?
As long as we're cognizant of how much improvements and volume we're adding to it. So given that our code requires that they have to have this detention pit, the answer is no.
Right.
Now, as people add driveways, pools, patios in there, they're adding, that it is my belief, because you have another petitioner here that backs up to this, that's on here for a different problem, that inlet picks up everything all the way up to Old Bonham and Dealman.
Right.
So,
yeah, I got it.
So, long story short, I think Ms. Doty's correct, but I think within the staff report, we have the conditions outlined for consideration about getting a final site improvement plan to allow the consultant's final review, the drainage easement, and the final tree protection or replacement plan.
Okay, great.
There was one item I think Mr. Carswell kind of noted, and I think this is what Ms. Doty's alluding to. Bear with me one second here, because it was kind of
it was on the rear of the plan where the architect called out the wrong size door.
Yeah, and it's good for the commission to be aware in here, but. And I kudos to Don and Jack for catching that. So if you look at the building footprint, and here it is right here, and you're going to look at the first floor, here's the garage, and then here's the mud room and washroom, and then the kitchen area. They're actually creating this, not it like it's in not a, it's a unenclosed or enclosed covered porch area. So the wall actually extends all the way up to here, and then you have an exterior wall that runs here and then kind of jags here. But this is all open. So when you look at that elevation in the back, what you see, these windows here are actually or somewhere back here. So you actually have like an interior elevation here and an interior elevation here.
Aren't those
And
3 windows part of the kitchen?
yeah, I think you're down here. Bear with me one second here.
I think that's part of the kitchen because I don't think he's got windows on that back end.
Yeah, so these are the 3 window kitchens, but this back wall here, you have a wall here and you have the wall here. And this side here looks like this because they're going to have a metal firebox here, and you can see this right here. So you would actually be inside this area here, and then on this side here, you would see this side, and you would have doors to go into behind these windows in there. What staff
So
picked up
basically,
is
it's a slider door that's on the inside of a covered porch leading into the kitchen that the architect called out the wrong size door, which is being corrected, which would be more, I think, since you can't see it from the exterior, it's being corrected as soon as we got the notes back from you all. So yeah, I mean, he had it as a 5-foot door. You can't walk through a 5-foot door.
Right. Okay.
all right.
All right, good. Is there, I thought I saw something about a garage issue.
It's the
Front
design principles, yeah, the front entry garage. It's not prohibited. It's not even necessarily discouraged.
Right.
So there are a great many front-facing
Right.
garages.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that. So, okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments to the petitioner? Okay, seeing none. I guess we need to take some public comments on this, but I guarantee you, we have nobody out in the audience that's gonna want
We
to.
got one neighbor.
And we already got the panelist on there, so I think we'll move on with that. So if there's no further discussion, do I hear a motion?
Before we do, not to prolong this, but we haven't talked about the aesthetics of the house at all. I assume everybody's okay with it?
I'll also note in your report, as a request from the commission members, you have the 3 previous homes that were developed by this developer. So just FYI.
Is that all siding or is that masonry or stone on the bottom? I'm not
It's
sure.
first floor is all masonry. Then you have some siding and then some hardy board shingles up on the gables.
And what was the concern that you had with the 3 previous homes, Carlos?
No, the commission had requested that we provide like past history of homes that have been submitted by a petitioner.
Yeah.
So we're not getting too much sameness.
Right.
Sure.
Okay. I don't see that in my.
It'll be in the written report component.
But staff didn't have any notes on elevation articulation or any, grouping of or excessive materials,
I don't necessarily either. I just thought I should bring it up before we.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay.
For completion.
All right,
That's
thank you.
great. So do I now hear a motion? Sam? We're
I
stalling.
don't have my thing up. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion. Motion to approve a petition for site plan, community design and concept stormwater management review for a new single-family home at 13 Crosswinds Drive as presented in the memorandum from the Department of Planning and Community Development dated November 6th, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein.
Motion's been made by Sam Wallach. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded by
Second.
Tim Spiegelglass. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Commissioner Ragsdale,
Approve.
Commissioner Spiegelglass,
Approve.
Commissioner Ford, Commissioner Powell,
Approve.
Commissioner Wallach,
Approved.
Commissioner Jogal,
Approved.
and the motion passes unanimously. The next step is in submitting those revisions and then applying for the building permit.
Good, good.
Not a
good.
problem. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to item D, 9552 Old Bonham Road. Appreciate your patience, guys, waiting for this. So, yeah, exactly. Is this Carlos or Dawn?
It would be me again.
Dawn, all right.
So, 9552 Old Bonham. It is a new single-family home, which comes in front of PCDC no matter what. It is a conforming lot, as far it meets the, width, and depth and area that are necessary for a single, family residential lot in the city. Our main, I guess, concerns and issues, although fairly mild in this one, are the tree replacement. And for this one, this is where my mind was with the tree replacement. There is only one tree that is listed on the property as to be in fair condition. And it is an oak tree, but it is a pin oak tree, which is known to be problematic. And I know that it's actually specified within the documentation, but it's prone to a specific disease that causes blight. And it would be helpful for staff to get clarification from the commission as to what, are there certain types of trees that we are not looking to protect necessarily? And maybe that is aside from invasive, species that are identified to be invasive, like honeysuckle or honey locust, things like that. But for a tree that is not invasive, but is, not exactly, the best kind of tree, and it is in fair condition, is that tree, worth protecting? Or is it something that we would rather see removed and replaced? So that is kind of the discussion here. There is also an excess right-of-way that is pictured right there. Perfect. That right-of-way, we would like to see the petitioner acquire and record in order to consolidate. I don't believe that we know the full history of how that right of way came to be access, or what its genesis is.
So there's no owner to it?
That's correct.
That is correct.
Up for grabs.
Free land. No, that is not what we're saying. And the petitioner appears like he's approached that one. The other not issue, but thing of note is that they're proposing a double driveway apron. So there would be a U-shaped driveway in front of the property and which would be not exactly unique. There are several, residential houses that have double aprons. But it would be something to consider, especially on such a busy road as Old Bonham.
That way they don't have to back into Old Bonham.
Well, are the excessive aprons, does that create? I mean, you're talking about a single family residential, and not like a multifamily, so you're not talking about like an increased traffic necessarily, but the more aprons there are, from a planning standpoint, purely, the more aprons there are, the more incident, or more likely or higher likeliness of incident of a person who's walking coming in contact with a car because they're using the apron. However, this is a single family residential building, and we would hope that they would be cognizant pulling out of the driveway. Is that something I can guarantee? No. However, you did make, a good point that the double apron might enable them to pull forward instead of backward, which is also safer for pedestrians.
The other side of that though is you could have a
Oh.
little turning radius.
You don't have your mic on.
I retract.
Come on, it's okay. Go ahead. What's,
Yes.
No,
But
no,
if-
the other part of it is instead of having the turning radius and having two cuts, is there's actually a little turning lane in that too as well.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, I think there's two other points. One is there's plenty of us that have just a plain old driveway into Oban. I mean, if you just are patient, you can get out on Oban with no problem. That's the first thing. Second thing is we just heard about water runoff. The more pavement we have, the more we're going to have runoff, and it's going to affect downstream folks. And I disagree that this road is so busy that you have to have a circular drive. I realize that we're
Oh,
putting up a
But
McMansion.
that's not something that was actually stated by the petitioner. I am simply stating what, some of the value is to.
No, I understand.
Okay, so I just didn't want to.
I understand what you're, I
Okay.
understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, I think it's contrary to, our whole discussion about stormwater. And I don't think it's a fair statement to say that Old Bonham is such a busy road that you need to have a circular drive. So it's not. I don't have one. I get out just fine. Never had even come close to having.
Okay.
And we don't have an issue with with the lot coverage. They are under they are under their limit for lot
Right.
coverage.
Did you say something about the western elevation, the articulation?
Yes, there is like a monolith, as it were, 28 undisturbed feet of siding along that west elevation. So it would be something that, we may or may not see as a design flaw.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Any questions or comments for Dawn?
Question, and maybe it's for the petitioner, is the tree, you asked about the pin oak, and I think that's a much longer conversation potentially, but if it is the fact that it's going to be removed because it's a pin oak or just because it's in the way of the driveway?
It's not proposed to be removed.
It isn't here.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is
It's
proposed to be. I apologize. I
And I guess I didn't think it was, but it's not just because it's a pin oak. It's probably because of the location, I assume.
They're in review. This thing, in reviewing this, the petitioner applied for a demolition permit about a month ago. And it was something that hoped to discuss with the commission, and maybe for another night. But we were concerned about issuing the demolition permit because the tree was identified as fair. And they're typically, sometimes these go through the commission first before demos are applied for. And therefore, the commission is making those decisions. But here, that decision was put onto staff, and we were concerned taking on that since the ordinance was new. Developer's been patient with us in there, but we looked at this tree, these two trees, because in an aerial view, they look great. But when you go in there, this one has several dead limbs. The arborist, and I'm not questioning the arborist, they identified it as in poor condition. This one was in fair condition, but when you look at it, and you can see all the goals all over. In addition to that, there is a gas line that runs right here already. And you have a driveway. They're not going to keep this driveway, nor are we going to let them keep this driveway after building a house here in there. I am more concerned about the resident 5 years from now and the impact of trying to save a tree that we don't believe is going to make it in there. However, there's not an opportunity to, given that the ordinance is new. And again, I think when you look at the an aerial, or if you don't know all the things behind the tree and its placement, it really makes you question, well, what did we just adopt if they have to take those two down in there? But they're bad. The report indicates this is in poor condition. It does have some dead limbs. This one is full of galls, and there's utility infrastructures that run underneath. And then the driveway disruption is, whether they even kept that driveway or not, is going to impact the longevity of that tree in there. And we just want to make sure that the commission's aware. I think it would be in the city's best interest to get it removed.
Pin
in
oak
there.
drops those pointy balls, right?
Yeah.
No,
Sure.
what is that one?
Like, they're like little acorns.
That's sweet gum.
Sweet gum, sweet gum. Okay, okay. Obviously, I don't know my trees. Yeah, I know, I've had them. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that being said, so of the number of trees on the side, you have the arborist report. The developer is willing to replace all the trees plus one because of the size of the lot in there, and we have the conditions of what those trees have to be replaced in there. And I think
They have not stipulated, unless there are more recent plans that, what the replacement, trees would be. So that would be something that we would require. And, we do want them to choose off of the native species list from the Missouri Department of Conservation.
they have to. It's
They-
not a question.
They
So-
have to, yes.
Okay, good. Is any more questions right now? Otherwise, let's bring the petitioner, see if we can kind of get through some of these. Who from the audience would like to come up? Remember to state your name and address for the record.
All addresses or one?
If they start coming up, then we'll ask them.
No, I have a 4.
Oh, you have 4?
Yeah, in all of it. Yeah.
You're primary.
Thank you. 650 Ashland
Good, good.
Drive. My name is Ola Terkach. So what's the questions?
Well, there was some,
Tree. About the tree,
Yeah.
we have a replacement plan, actually. It's supposed to be on a file already, right? So we have all replacement plan. You want to keep the tree? I'm fine. It's going to be on your side in 5 years to replace it.
I think that was my misunderstanding about the pin oak being kept, but the replacement trees need to be need to be provided, from the Missouri Department of Conservation. So the replacement trees, the species need to be specified. Oh,
It's everything specified. What kind of tree? Everything says is it replacement tree.
To the best of my knowledge, that's the one thing. We don't know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah,
7
you see it. You could just go up.
will be.
Go up.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, what type?
There is a says canopy tree, canopy tree,
Correct.
canopy tree, 2.5
But
meters.
the code requires that they be called out, like you see this eastern redbud or ash. But there's a certain selection that you have to pick from that's accessible through the
Okay.
Missouri Department of Conservation.
Okay.
Uh,
Fine. I got this.
Okay.
So
okay, there were some questions about that western elevation, about the articulation. And is there anything we could do to kind of break up the mess with that? Remember, state your name and address for the record.
Pavel Ivanchuk, address 101 South Brent Avenue. What can we do to break up that mass?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the desire came to make it all brick, but we made it all brick. So another alternative would be to bring the siding material to that side.
Yeah, the brick's good. I mean, it's nice that it's all brick.
Otherwise, would be to introduce some sort of, but well, with the
No other windows or
we
anything?
don't remember that if it's, can you go up and see what kind of room is that?
that's a master bedroom there.
Master bedroom on the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
Master
We have-
bedrooms.
We have windows on the back from master bedroom, yeah. I don't wanna put the windows on the side because I'm gonna look on my neighbor
Yeah.
side.
Right.
Which is like,
Generally, side windows,
side windows, I'm gonna look,
There's no
my,
way
I'm very sure my neighbor's not the one miss
Yeah, yeah.
on his house.
You could do elevated windows, true. You know.
some clear story windows.
What
some,
now?
some high windows.
Yeah, yeah.
Player story.
Or I've even seen people kind of put like a small roof line, kind of wrap it around between
Just
the
some,
first and second floor.
some brick coursing, is that what you're
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to see something. I mean, honestly, I'm not in love with the design of this home, particularly that wall right there, that straight up and down wall compared to the houses on either side. To me, this house doesn't really look like it fits within the character of those two. So, I don't know what exactly that is, but I'd like to see something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and in the character of the other houses surrounding it.
But if you look on a house across the street, it's exact same house.
Well, I don't like that either. I'm talking about this house though.
The house, if it's just so many houses in Albany look exactly like that on the street, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can understand that, but
Yeah,
we,
most of the houses, they're kind of budget homes that were built in the 70s during a housing boom. They're fairly, there's not a lot of articulation. They're small scale, and that's kind of why they look kind of, houses that are built today are larger, so therefore they're kind of similar in a sense to what was done before, just
Will there be any with the side of the house that the,
some formal moves or.
well, that the side won't be just flat? It will have some protrusions, or I think that the mentioning was like for that, almost like a fake roof line, or,
I'm thinking of something.
it just
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to think if if this picture is just not capturing that kind of, 3D element that may break that up.
Where it doesn't look so bad on a 3D versus 2D. Is there anything like that? Or is there
Yes.
anything you can add?
Yes, we can. We can add some extra brickwork. We can potentially add some windows. Those will be the moves. I'm not sure what you mean by a fake roof line.
Oh, like an eave,
Like an overhang or something.
like
Oh,
that.
just an extended overhang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just connect the two there.
Yeah.
I see.
Thank
I see. Yeah, I think that would help actually. Yeah, because they're in line basically.
Okay. Okay, then was there concern about the driveway, adding the extra apron? I personally think it's fine. I know you don't, but have you guys had any thoughts about that yourselves based on some of the comments that were made here tonight?
Driver?
No, I think it is advantageous for that. It's kind of medium busy road, but
No, just it's really busy and 8 o'clock when the school day and tutor. So it's a traffic stay up to the even past to the house.
Yeah, for the school. How
Second
far away
one,
is the school?
what you think about delivery truck? Amazon, FedEx, all the time. I'm driving there every day because I'm living that street.
Right.
If it's Amazon, grab the truck. It's 40 foot from the street to the house. How long time it take for the Amazon unload the material and come back, and everybody stay behind it?
Yeah.
What about in the morning and a school day?
Right.
It's not only this. What about the emergency, like emergency truck or fire truck? There is no way, so people can either only one way and one line one way and one line back. People even cannot move anywhere to let the emergency truck going through.
Right.
Here's what's the like circle drive. I think it's a good solution to keep just everybody safe.
Right.
Plus, there is a sidewalk. How many kids on an e-bike going through the sidewalk right now in the school day? Is it right?
I have no idea. That's a good
It's
question.
so many people, so many kids on the e-bike.
Yeah.
From the after school, they're going home in the summer. I mean, like when they warm outside, so many people, so many kids. They driving so fast on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
If it's people just pull back from the driveway,
Yeah.
they cannot see them.
Right.
It is a problem.
Right.
And
I mean,
so
there's-
busy streets.
There's definitely a lot of them on.
And
it
a lot
right
of
now,
this,
too,
my
I gotta
neighborhood,
say.
like,
Mhm.
it's only what,
I tend to agree, with that approach myself. So,
Then, some, in regards to the other concerns, like the stormwater, that driveway extension, the component of it, if they're, limiting it to 10 feet, because if it truly serves just as an exit or in there, looking at permeable materials or in lieu of hard, or having the concrete where some water can go or stay through, or looking at other options to that.
yeah,
I mean, we are compliant with the impervious calculations.
right, right.
I think we're under.
But I don't think we calculate the driveway space.
Correct, we don't.
Yeah,
You don't?
so, no. So that's not factored in. So kind of seeing if there's any other best practices, or things like that, that could help mitigate or, control to balance out, I think the need for the loop, but see if there's anything else that could be done. Rain garden.
Well, the civil engineer is not here. I think we can. I know how wide is that driveway right now?
we have a 14 on the left side and all over the 10, I believe, right?
You got a 12-foot wide.
12 wide, yeah.
I'm just throwing that as an option, you know what I mean? But hopefully you see what ideas
I
I'm
see.
talking about.
Understand.
And there may be something right here, instead of these coming out around this way, that they kind of just hold up internally.
Say that again, Carlos? What are you suggesting?
That within the space, that the driveway kind of be redirected to drain in here, and there's some type of rain garden in here. There's a really good project.
Okay.
Right here, where the petitioner kind of
Yeah.
drives the water into there, and there's another one just down the block too. I think this is it. And these streetscapes are a little bit older, but they're worth looking at. You can see how they for that excess asphalt, they have this.
We're totally fine.
What's that?
I think
That's
totally-
good.
It's fine.
Yeah. Good.
It's not any problem.
Okay,
I
fantastic.
don't see any problem with this. I would like to do it.
What's that?
I would like to do that. It's fine.
Good,
It's
good.
fine.
All right, that
No
sounds
problem.
good.
So again, the principal goal is to get these arrows here reversed to go back in
Yeah, it's
here.
fine. Yeah, we can do this.
Good. All right. Any other further questions or comments for the petitioner? All right, I think
Thank
we're
you.
good. Thank you. I'll ask if there's any public comments. Seeing none out there. And do we have anybody online? We have nobody online. All right, good. Any further discussion? Okay, do I hear a motion? Sam's not gonna give a motion. I can tell.
Do we need to wait for that side wall to be fixed though,
Yeah.
to see it?
Oh, use your,
See what?
Are we gonna see any
That
proposals for how to handle that side of
side
the
wall.
house?
I mean, we could work with the petitioner on the elevation articulation
Yeah.
and things like that. If you, Oleg. We can only have comments up at but you're welcome to come back out. He's,
I'll clarify that the petitioner just agreed that he would be willing to add windows and do some other articulation on the side that would be reviewed with staff. Does that sound appropriate?
Yeah.
Good,
You
good.
okay with that, Carlos?
Yes, or if the commission would like to take action, that also a stipulation that we show you the revision when it comes back, before the permit's issued.
Sure. That would be great. They seem to be very willing to work with us, with everything. So I'm okay with that. How comfortable does everybody else feel? Okay, okay, good,
All
good,
right.
good. That being said, do I hear a motion? I see a motion on the screen, if anybody would like to make it, to move this along, especially that it's 9:30 already.
All right, I guess I'll do it. Motion to approve a petition for site plan, community design and concept stormwater management review for a new single-family home at 9552 Old Bottom Road as presented in a memorandum from the Department of Planning and Community Development dated November 6, 2025, subject to any staff conditions noted therein.
Motion's been made by our
Yes.
stellar motion giver, Sam.
Thank you.
Wallach.
I'd like to amend my motion by saying, in addition to the staff conditions, also the condition that the further articulation on the side of the building we discussed is reviewed by staff and presented to the commission.
As well as the addition for the rain garden in the front with the driveway sloping in.
Yes.
Was there any other things that we went over and discussed? I don't believe so. So I think that, would you accept that amendment?
Yes.
All right. Motion's been made by Sam Wallach. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And seconded by Tim Spiegelglass. Carlos, you please call the vote.
Commissioner Ragsdale,
Approve.
Commissioner Spiegelglass,
Approve.
Commissioner Ford, Commissioner Powell,
Deny.
Commissioner Wallach,
Approved.
Commissioner Jurgel.
Approved.
The motion passes 5-1, excuse me.
All right, good, good, good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Sorry for the long wait. Okay, we'll move on then to other business. Number A, rooftop solar panel installations.
Chairman, I'm going to jump to, if it's okay, to B, 7 Lisa Drive, because I do have a representative here
Absolutely.
in there. And basically, we're just bringing this to the commission's attention. These were below are the approved building plans that the commission approved back in June of 2025. They have the property sold and the owner wanted some modifications. They're adding more masonry. We just wanted to inform the commission regarding to that and just bring it to, the intent was to bring it to the attention. They have brought samples if the commission would like to see in there, and they've done some modifications, but overall this furthers the our goal of trying to get more masonry on the structures.
I think it looks good.
Agree.
Yeah, I'd love to see the sample since you've waited so patiently. Little show and tell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, this is Alex
Bartlesmeyer, yeah.
Bartlesmeyer, with McKelvey Homes.
See if this will stand up here.
Great. Great.
There you go. Yes, I'm Alex Bartlesmeyer with McKelvey Homes. We're the developer for the project. As Carlos stated, we originally submitted this. We were speccing the house.
Yeah.
And literally, I think that the day before we got the permit, we sold it. The homeowner was looking to make changes, be a little bit more appealing to what they were looking for in the house. So, as we're looking at there, we have pewter gray architectural shingles. This is the stone that's presented there. That's mostly on the right side of the house and then a little bit on the second floor windows there. And then there's brick that is mostly along the front of the garage as well as the front of the house near the front door. So, and then the rest of it is hardy board siding in cobblestone.
Good, good.
So,
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
problem.
those materials look nice, I think, at least. I don't want to speak for everybody else, but good, good. Thank you very much.
no problem.
Carlos, you got what you needed?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, good,
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you very much for bringing that in. Sorry for the wait. Okay, so then we'll move on or move back to rooftop solar panel installations, 800 North Price.
Correct. We're just informing the commission that 800 North Price has applied for a building permit to install solar panels. They will be facing eastward at the rear of the property. They're all on one plane, so they meet the criteria for staff to initiate the permit review. But we always bring these to the commission's attention.
Good, good, good. Appreciate it. Looks great. I'm glad for the additional solar power. Okay, so then we have data centers.
Real quickly, There's a definition for data centers under the NAICS about what they do. I think everybody's kind of heard about data centers recently. We were asked to take a look at our code and what are permissible and what isn't. There are some concerns that have been expressed regarding data centers for various reasons, but they're not allowed in our commercial districts. But in our light industrial districts, because we use a 2007 classification system, they can fall under warehousing. They can also fall under computer and data processing and service centers. Both of them by right, meaning that if there's an existing building, they can just apply for their permits and occupancy and start operations. Given that there are concerns about their utility usage, noises, economic impact, air quality, electronic waste and disposal, water quality impact, lighting, security, we were asked to kind of look into that and see if we should put some regulations in place to control them. I don't think we're in any case trying to prohibit them. They're appropriate in certain areas, and there are concerns when they are located in other areas. And the best way to control that is through a special permit process. That gives the commission the ability to consider something on a site-by-site basis in there. I will note, Charter Spectrum has a major facility here in Olivet. We are the core of all the internet that goes through Charter and Spectrum in here, and that's called a network operating center, which is different from a data processing center. But they kind of almost fall under the same umbrella. We're not trying to address the network operations because a data center uses network operations for the traffic to get distributed. So it's a completely different type of thing. Charter has been here for ages, and they're operated in our industrial park in there. I don't believe we want to impact or create any non-conforming typical use. So that's one of the concerns. So our recommendation is to develop a definition for data centers, limit it to the light industrial districts as a special permit use only. Given that as a special permit, we can look at conditions of requiring a setback for residential properties, require a noise mitigation plan, set minimum land area standards, require additional screening above and beyond the code, and set up some type of building performance standards. So we'll get that drafted, and we just wanted to bring that to the commission's attention.
I think that's great. What
Okay.
about utility usage? Do we have any control over that or the potential impacts if something like that moved in, how that impacts the rest of our?
As a municipality, I don't believe we do. It's something we can inquire with in that, because utilities are controlled are controlled by the state through the Public Utilities Commission, and the Public Utilities Commission can make I don't want to say exceptions, but carve out ways and means to facilitate those type of needs like they do for aluminum plants and all that. When we have somebody that's a really a big eater of utilities, I mean, it's great for the city because we have a utility tax. However, the state has intervened in many of these, and if we're not in that receipt, then yes, it's a loss for the city. And I think that's what a lot of these communities are expressing. While there may be utility, they eat up a lot of utility, but the way the process in the market has been working is like they don't get taxed the same way as you would for running your heater or air conditioning at home in there. So
Gotcha.
I don't know that specifically answers what you're asking, but that's why we have the concern is utility
Yeah.
in there. On the sustainability side, creating more energy, especially if it's fossil fuels, carbon type of fuels, that is a global concern or a larger concern in there. And that's the other thing that they've been looking at. I don't know if we would be in a position to require some type of utility, like how to control or regulate the utility usage of a building.
I don't know either, but it's just something to think about,
Yeah.
to look at.
I think that might be in the long run to see what some of our neighbors are doing in there. A lot of these standards are, the city of St. Louis kind of set a precedent and in there. And I think we're starting to see more communities starting to draft up different scenarios. And we can come back and add more to it. But I think not having anything right now kind of puts us in a position of
Maybe require a little bit that they have to use more sustainable energy sources,
Correct.
Part of it, or at least a percentage,
Okay.
All right, well, I think this is moving in the right direction, so that's good. All right,
All right.
we'll move on. 2024 comprehensive plan.
All right.
I'm assuming we are going to defer that.
We're going to go really quickly through it. Sorry, but this is, and this is the thing about, I'm going to put my 2 cents in because we are primarily a plan commission, but somewhere community design was added to that. So you do architectural review. So, 85% of everything we do is dealing with residential improvements, and we barely get the plan. Here's our plan. This is what we have you here for. So we're going to go through this real quick. The council talked about, there was some discussion at the commission. They asked, asked Commissioner Lewis or Councilman Lewis to go talk to the council and ask what are the council's direction regarding where we want to go in implementing of the plan. They had that discussion Tuesday night. Mr. Lewis was out of town, but he was informed of some of the information that they talked about. Overall, the council saw 3 goals that they really kind of pushed above, and I think there's about 8 or 9 goals in the comprehensive plan. One is about strategic redevelopment and growth. The other one is about strengthening environmental sustainability, and third was diversity in housing in there. Now, within each of those goals, there's these different type of actions. Their focus on those actions about strategic redevelopment and growth was primarily about enhancing the design quality and consistency along the Olive Boulevard. Really focusing on Chapter 428 and the Olive Boulevard Master Plan. Secondly was to continue those streetscape enhancements as it relates to connectivity throughout the city to our pedestrian and bicycle networks, and essentially really make the spaces, pedestrian friendly and attractive in there. These kind of both go hand in hand. And there, it was interesting on the selection of those two when you're talking about redevelopment and growth. Goal I was about strengthening environmental sustainability, which was something like we just kind of talked about, but the council was, their focus was more about removing barriers to solar panel installation. Similar, right now I have to bring these to you for your, for consent, to establish outdoor lighting regulations in there, and then to continue to implement and improve stormwater oversight and regulations. And then diversity in housing. In terms of diversity in housing is to look at adjusting our zoning regulations to allow subdividing of larger lots into smaller lots to expand opportunities for smaller homes, and then create new regulations to manage the size and impact on how some of these new homes have on the area, and also these major developments in there. So I'm going to go to Mr.
The
Lewis.
only thing on that is we had all voted and kind of said, what are the things? These are actually the 3 I put in there, which is, I'm glad to see that, they're, I did want to call out, and we're not going to get it to now. So I'm going to ask, maybe we can make it an agenda item at the beginning of the next meeting, but still want to hear from this commission. What do you want to take back? Whether it's accessory structures, whether it's things like that, that you want advice, or you want the council's consensus or advice on, what laws would you like to see changed? What guidance would you like? So I'm still, we need to go reciprocally back, but these were the council's views of, these were things we think PCDC should be looking at or kind of focusing on, or what our view is.
Right.
So.
Do you have any discussions about the accessory structures?
No, because I wanted to make sure, are those the topics you guys want to have? And I've mentioned it, but I will need to get it on in a speaking topic for the future thing. But my ask of all of you is maybe think through it, and maybe in the next meeting we can have it is just a few 10-minute conversation to say, what are the main topics that you think council needs to take up? Accessory structures definitely is one, I would say, but are trees another? I'm just are those kind of things. So.
Okay.
Not to belabor it tonight with the
homework.
To think through it, but maybe, Carlos, I don't know if we can put it early on.
And that might be something too, if the commission would be considered, either we set a time that the normal meeting starts at 8, or we look at having a work session between 6:30 to 7:30 and then start the meeting. I know everybody, it's hard and but the applications are coming in. I think I have 2 new homes, and in addition, we have the hotel, and then we also have another special permit that has submitted a petition for our meeting on the 20th.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Well, how does everybody feel about coming in early? Little resistance,
mhm.
and I get it.
No,
get it.
Never
I do think we need to get it on a priority, you know, and hopefully we can get it on a, you know, an
Mhm.
agenda item, but.
And I'm fine in like in our agendas that the first 30 minutes is going to consist of a discussion amongst the commission regarding implementation.
And I think we just time box ourselves to say
Yeah.
we're only gonna spend 20, 30 minutes on, it, we gotta go.
And I think it's good for the public to hear what is our vision and what are we doing?
Yeah, no, I get that. Okay, well, we could do that.
Hmm.
But just remember, this is kind of we've sequentially had some very long meetings. And that does take a toll on everybody, okay? So, um, let's try to be mindful. If we can delay it a month, you know, so we can get through some of these things, that'd be great.
I think we can.
Yeah,
Okay.
good. Okay,
Can I just
all
ask a
right.
quick question? Is this something that we could have something to read through and think about in the interim? That would be helpful to facilitate
And
discussion.
these council thoughts we just received and I just put them down and I got them in an email and I put them down in in this and I'll get that sent out to everyone
That'd be great.
in there. Okay.
All right, so we'll move on to reports.
All right,
Carlos?
sir. Yes. Not much in here. We do have a busy meeting coming up. Our next meeting is November 20th. In there, it's going to be the US Bank facility that is on Olive Boulevard has been vacated since last year. In there, we have a permit for Mercy to use that facility as a pharmaceutical um, facility for distribution and all that. Pharmaceutical ambulatory care facility. And they'll bring about 125 people. It is permitted in its zone light industrial and it's permitted in the light industrial district, and we'll have that discussion
Good.
in there. Council has its next meeting on November 18th. We have on their agenda the public hearing for Easy Storage and their restaurant facility. And then there's an outline of the next schedule of dates and all that. And I'll move it over to Councilman Lewis.
Not much report. We had the Harvest Festival, which was, you know, a good hit, and people seemed to enjoy it quite a bit. And chili cook-off on Halloween for everyone, which was fun to attend.
Nice.
But otherwise, you know, thank you. 2 3 hour meetings in a row is
Yes.
it's not aimed at continue.
I think it was a good, interesting discussion.
It was.
Yeah, so that's good. And hopefully can hash out some of these other things that I think are appropriate for us to
And
do.
I'll add, I mean, I haven't been on the council for like or the commission for 5 years before. It's rare to have votes that weren't always unanimous. I think that's good, healthy debate.
Yeah,
So, great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, any other further discussion? Seeing none, we'll adjourn at 9:48.
Minutes?
Oh,
Objection.
We can bring those to the next.
Oh.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm